So very good morning, and this is Diksha Tiwari extending a very warm welcome to all of you to the Leap Ahead Startup Summit in Bhubaneswar. Startups are today called the shining beacons of Atmanirbharta. So you can very well understand the significance of such a summit, which is an inspiring gathering of trailblazers, innovators, investors, and visionaries. This summit today will witness a lot of interesting things, insightful sessions from industry leaders, investors, and startup founders. Organized by STPI Next Initiative, in association with Ministry of Electronics and IT, Electronics and IT Department, Government of Odisha, TIE Delhi, NCR, and TIE Bhubaneswar. So absolutely a lot to look forward during the day. But then let's also do a rewind and go back to 1991 when STPI was set up as an autonomous society under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. Since then, STPI's main objective has been the promotion of software exports from the country. But STPI also plays a pivotal role in igniting the startup ecosystem of India. Established by the Indian government, STPI serves as a catalyst for innovation and technological advancement in the country. It has been the unsung hero behind India's entrepreneurial spirit. It nurtures startups, fosters technological advancement, simplifies regulatory hurdles, all in the pursuit of igniting innovation and propelling India's startup ecosystem to greater heights. I'm pleased to share with you that STPI has undertaken various initiatives and projects for support and promotion of startups and innovation in emerging technologies across India. These include Next Generation Incubation Scheme, the multiple domain-specific centers of entrepreneurship, Fab Lab, Atal Incubation Center, among many others. So just as STPI has been the key in igniting innovation and fueling Indian startups, I'm delighted to announce that today we have an esteemed panel of dignitaries with us today who are going to set the tone by fueling the discussions and deliberations at the Leap Ahead Startup Summit today. So please put your hands together as I request all our esteemed guests to light the ceremonial lamp for an auspicious beginning to this wonderful summit. Please give a big round of applause to our chief guest, Shri Tushar Kanti Behera, Honorable Minister of State, Electronics and IT, Sports and Youth Services, Government of Odisha. Guest of Honor, Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Principal Secretary, Electronics and IT Department, Government of Odisha. Mr. Pradeep Gupta, Mentor, NGIS and Chairman and MD, Cyber Media. Shri Sujya Kumar Patnaik, Director, STPI Bhubaneswar. Shri AK Mahanti, President, TIE Bhubaneswar. Our investor partners, Ms. Supriya Dhanda, Co-founder and Managing Partner, Wiser, and Mr. Kumar Sorab, Venture Catalyst. The traditional way to start an event, always auspicious as well as traditional. So we hope that this slide spreads positivity in all our lives. Thank you to our esteemed guests. I request them to now join us on stage, of course, with a huge round of applause from all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, as is the customary practice, we would like to welcome all our esteemed dignitaries on dais with bouquets because nothing says it better than flowers. So I'll request the Director STPI, Shri Sujay Kumar Patnaik, to first welcome our Honorable Minister, Shri Tushar Kanti Behera, with a bouquet. I'll also request him to welcome Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra. I'll request the Director STPI to now welcome Shri Pradeep Gupta. May I now request the Additional Director STPI, Shri S.R. Patra, to welcome Mr. AK Mahanti with a bouquet. I'll request Shri Patra to now welcome Ms. Supriya Dhanda with a bouquet. I'll also request him to welcome Mr. Kumar Sorab. I'll also request Shri Patra to now welcome Shri Sujay Kumar Patnaik with a bouquet. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have the welcome address by Shri Sujay Kumar Patnaik, Director STPI Bhubaneswar. He has more than 25 years of rich experience in STPI. He has been instrumental in shaping and operational of the STPI centers at Rourkela and Berhampur, which were the second and third STPI centers in the state of Odisha, respectively, after Bhubaneswar. Under his dynamic leadership, STPI Rourkela grew manyfold and attained new heights in terms of revenue, exports, and infrastructure fronts. Currently, new STPI centers in Odisha, Jharkhand, and Bihar are being implemented under his direct supervision. He's also looking after STPI startup initiatives like setting up of the Centers of Entrepreneurship, Next Generation Incubation Scheme, and the STPI Fab Lab with an objective of building a product nation and creating an innovation-led ecosystem in the country. May I now request him for the welcome address.
Thank you, Diksha. Namaskar and very good morning. Honorable Minister, State for Electronics and IT, Sports, Youth Services and Home, Government of Odisha, Shri Tushar Kanti Behera ji. Principal Secretary IT Electronics, Shri Manoj Mishra ji. Shri Pradeep Gupta ji, Mentor NGIS and Chairman and MD Cyber Media. Shri Kumar Sorab, Venture Catalyst. Shri Supriya Dhanda, Co-Founder and Managing Partner, Wiser. Shri AK Mahanti, President, TAI. Shri Gitika Dayal, Executive Director, TAI, Delhi, who is conducting this program. Distinguished guests, speakers, tech startups, delegates, innovators, mentors, my colleagues from STPI, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege and pleasure to welcome you at Leap Ahead Startup Summit, which is a pioneering initiative by STPI to promote startup to scale a next height and build a robust startup ecosystem. A warm welcome to Honorable Minister, Principal Secretary, other distinguished dignitaries on the dais, and all of you to this event, which marks a significant milestone in our journey of contributing immensely towards building a startup nation. Leap Ahead Startup Summit in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, a flagship event organized by STPI, which is the second of its kind, after its launch at New Delhi, and this will be followed by another 2 summits planned at Vijayawada and Chandigarh. STPI, which has played a phenomenal role in boosting IT export from the country, is now actively working towards strengthening the startup ecosystem by implementing various policies and initiatives, as well as establishing enabling networks. As you know, one of the STPI key initiative, the Next Generation Incubation Scheme, along with establishment of 22 domain tech-specific Center of Entrepreneurship, which has played a vital role in nurturing startup, fostering innovation. These initiatives provide essential support to the emerging tech startup by offering 360-degree support to create an innovation-led entrepreneurship. STPI has been setting up a Center of Entrepreneurship and Technology incubators across the country, focusing on emerging technology areas like blockchain, AI/ML, fintech, Industry 4.0, drone technology, and many more advanced technologies. With the extensive presence and a robust network of partners and mentors, STPI has become one of the largest pan-India incubator accelerator, successfully nurtured and supported over 1,200 startups up to date. This Leap Ahead program is launched by the tech entrepreneurs towards the accelerated growth and pioneering ahead, a pan-India STPI initiative to select tech startups for high-quality mentorship, securing investment, and establishing global connection. Tech startups who are in the scaling stage, growth stage, product diversification stage, and planning expansion into new geographical locations can get benefited through mentoring and funding support up to rupees 1 crore. In this program, 3-month intensive training will be provided to selected tech startups in hybrid mode like in-person and virtual, followed by demo day. Startup will benefited from the various master classes, group session, one-to-one mentorship, followed by the bi-weekly progress and evaluation mechanism. This will be enable the startup to establish a product market fit, identify customer segment, growth hacking strategy, business compliance, leadership, recruitment, and fundraising. Through this program, 75 startups to be mentored and made investment ready through 3-month intensive mentoring program, and 15 plus startups to be provided funding up to rupees 1 crore in a co-investment model. Besides funding up to rupees 1 crore, there will be hand-holding by the leading investor. There will be a mentorship that encompasses expert guidance across multiple critical areas, including company strategy, establish a product market fit, customer adoption spectrum, marketing, growth hacking, business compliance, leadership hiring, and fundraising. We have conducted many outreach programs to maximize the reach in the startup community here in Odisha, at Kata, in KIT, Bhubaneswar, Utkal University, CV Raman, CPET, SOA, and NRI, the National Rice Institute, Katak, NIST Barampur, GIT Gunpur, DAMITS Raulkela, and BPUT Raulkela, etc., to promote the Leap Ahead initiative here today. After inaugural session, today's program will be having 2 ND sessions on startup collaboration and funding insight, and navigating the investment landscape, and followed by the pitching by the some selected startups applied by the Leap Ahead program. Eminent speaker, government, industry stalwarts, mentors, investors, ecosystem partners will be enlightened the startup through these well-crafted session, which will be add immense value to our startups. The Leap Ahead initiative is designed to help startup establish a product market fit, identify target customer segments, develop growth strategies, ensure business compliance, recruit leadership, talent, and secure the funding. I request the startup to apply for the Leap Ahead program who have not done so far. The last date of the event is 10th of December 2023. So far, the last date of the event, we have, I think, more than 100 registration already done. The Leap Ahead initiative is a significant to boost the for tech startup in India by nurturing and fostering entrepreneurial billions, and this program aims to unlock the full potential of Indian startups I am confident that Leap Ahead shall ensure the startups from the different parts of the country to avail benefits from the program and contribute to India's entrepreneurial and innovation growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shri Patnaik, for wonderfully setting the tone for the summit ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the Next Generation Incubation Scheme, or NGIS as we call, is a futuristic and comprehensive incubation scheme entrusted by the Ministry of Electronics and IT to STPI for implementation. Now, NGIS has a vision to promote and support innovative startups working towards software product development through a synergized pan-India approach. It focuses on startups from 12 Tier 2 locations across India. And the offerings encompass the following: physical incentives, mentoring support, and financial incentives. So let's take a look at NGIS overview and its stupendous achievements through a video depicting the NGIS journey. Let's take a look at the video. Well, a superb 360 look into NGIS and its stellar achievements, scripting a success story indeed. Well, moving on, we have today amidst us on stage Shri AK Mahanti, President I Bhubaneswar. Shri Ayushkant Mahanti is also the Managing Director of Tattva Technologies Limited, one of the finest and largest ITES companies in Odisha. He has been consistently working on promoting entrepreneurship within the country and abroad as well. He is actively mentoring 8 startups now and has also invested in a few. Under his leadership, Tattva has developed and trained more than 68,000 employable people in the last 10 years by its in-house training facility in all its training centers across the country. Mr. Mahanti, who has received many awards and accolades for his work, including the Best IT Company Award in 2023 from Government of Odisha, Corporate Icon Award 2022, Best Brand of Odisha in 2020, Indian Leadership Award from CSR Forum for Greater Impact for Society 2017, the most prestigious Citizen Award in Business category from OTV in 2016, and many more, believes that it is utmost important to work for society along with creating wealth. May I now request him to address this wonderful audience, please.
Good morning. Respected Honorable Minister, Mr. Tushar Behera, respected Secretary, Principal Secretary, Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra, other respected Director, STPI, Mr. Sujay Patnaik, other guests on the dais, my dear startup friends, TIE family members from Bhubaneswar and Delhi, and STPI officials from Bhubaneswar and Delhi also. It's, I think, first of all, I like to welcome all of you in, to this unique event, because the way STPI and TIE together, they have positioned this event to promote, to support, to mentor the startup ecosystem from this place. And it's a great opportunity to all the startups. Basically, it is for you people, the startup ecosystem, to take the benefit out of this event. It's very unique. We have some investors, we have some venture capitalists, we have some mentors are here. So it is all about you to how maximize you to take benefit out of this event. And second thing is that I understand that this kind of meetings, this kind of event will definitely help to build a robust ecosystem in the state. Because as you know that, because I keep talking to or visiting different institutes in country and many places also, but I always feel that idea is the way our young brothers and the startups things in different institutes or different places in Odisha are at par with anybody in the world. So taking all these things, and we have a stable government, robust policy, and everything, we should take big advantage and the best infrastructure and the green city, and we are positioned to be to take this advantage and make Odisha a vibrant startup ecosystem. And TIE is always positive, always looking towards to build a very robust, very effective startup ecosystem in the state. We have been working last 11, 12 years to promoting that one. Some of us TIE also, through the members, has invested in Odisha, many startup, promoting, mentoring startup also. We'll keep doing same thing also. TIE also, you know, TIE is for the fostering entrepreneurship. So fostering entrepreneurship also, the startup ecosystem is coming under that. TIE is coming of couple of initiatives that is going to promote or build entrepreneurship mindset in the school level also, that we are planning TIE young entrepreneurs, that we are trying to build that things. TIE nurture also the existing startups. I think I'm announcing here that TIE Bhubaneswar is going to launch TIE nurture with TIE Hyderabad to mentor or to train the existing startups how to manage their business effectively and how to retain themselves in the race of competition. So, and how to have a best governance in the organization. Those kind of things TIE also try to impart training through this TIE nurture things. With this, I also thank you, sir, the dignitaries over the dais over here, finding time from the busy schedule and for this event. And also the friends, I request all you to be there till end of the things. We have a lot of exciting things to be here. And you will also, we'll have some announcements also here. And also you will find to meet a lot of people who are going to, you will find a lot of benefit for your startups. I think with this I conclude. And once again, thank you and wish you all to have a great day.
Thank you so much, Sri Mahanti, for your address and also for highlighting the initiatives being undertaken by TIE Bhubaneswar. Well, to meet the growing demand of startups seeking additional funding opportunities, STPI, in collaboration with TIE Delhi NCR, a global not-for-profit organization dedicated to fostering entrepreneurship, and a prestigious group of investors, is launching Leap Ahead, Launchpad for tech entrepreneurs towards accelerated growth and pioneering ahead, a pan-India initiative to select tech startups. This is a remarkable opportunity for startups to accelerate their growth. Some of the best funds across the country are collaborating as partner for this program in order to scout and fund some of the most high potential and path-breaking startups from across the country. We have with us today our investor partner, Ms. Supriya Dhanda, co-founder and managing partner, Wiser, earlier Z2O. Wiser is an idea stage fund backed by the Hatchery program. The fund is focused on accelerating entrepreneurial success of tech AI startups from idea to PMF stage of the startup journey. Supriya Dhanda is a business leader with more than 25 years of corporate experience in leading technology companies as Western Digital, SanDisk, Alcatel Lucent, and General Electric. Her last assignment was Country Manager India and Global Vice President for Western Digital, including being a member of the board. She is also the founder and CEO of Begel Foundation, a not-for-profit venture which is mission to develop women CEOs. May I now request her to address this wonderful gathering.
Thank you, Diksha. A very good morning to everyone. Respected Honorable Minister, members of the government, and of course my distinguished co-panelists, co-guests here, and of course to everyone in the audience, a very warm welcome. It's my first time in Bhubaneswar and I'm really excited to be here. And when we landed, at the airport, my partner who is from Cuttack, Odisha, and my first sentiment was, wow, this just looks like close to Chandigarh. And then I was told it's the same architect. So very happy to be here. And what a proud moment to hear, and Diksha, you're doing wonderfully well. What a proud moment to hear about STPI. We all know when we are part of global Indian organizations, R&D, and we know how you support us. But what a proud moment to hear so much that you're doing for the startup. So thank you so much for partnering. Thank you so much, TiE Delhi NCR. Thank you so much, TiE Bhubaneswar. I represent Wiser. I kind of like the name. You know, you get wiser with age, you get wiser. But today you're wise even when you're born. So I think we are very passionate about what we want to do. And I think we're very excited. People sometimes say, hey, come on, it's too late in life. Now is the time to chill and relax. And why start up now? I think it's never a bad time to start. And more importantly, it's never a bad time to start giving back to the community. Some of us who've had great stellar careers in corporate, we've done well. We had a lot of investment resources, human resources, funds we never lacked. We had excellent budgets to work on. Now just tilt the scale and imagine you're a startup. You don't have money to hire. You don't know where to get money to make your next product. And I know a lot of you are nodding your head because Diksha did ask how many are startups, and a good, I would say 50 to 60% of the room is filled with startups. Well, that's the journey you're on. You're your own IT, your own logistics, your own sales, your own marketing, your own finance, and that's not an easy journey to travel. I've been an entrepreneur once, and today it's fashionable to say a failed one at that. But somewhere that stayed with me, that was 2007 and 9, that if there is any time in life when I can go back and give back, I would love to do that. Now, we exist for profit for sure, but even then you can bring a lot of heart in it. And that's what we intend to do. I would like to talk about only 4 points and then leave it for you to, flow with the session of today. When we look at the entire ecosystem, it's amazing how India is doing so well. Barely 5-7 years back, we were barely 10 registered startups. Our numbers are 80,000 and growing, and I'm sure somebody will say you said it wrong because there are hundreds sprouting. It's a huge billion-dollar, multi-billions invested from a venture capital standpoint. Now, here is what we think. There is startup, there is a founder who's trying to make it work, he or she, and then there is capital. I think STPI, TiE Delhi, NCR, Bhubaneswar have clearly come forward in many years, and of course now, to say the problem is a lot more complex. If only money solved it, you could throw money at a lot of problems and things would have got solved. It's not that easy. Today, when we see you need to have your PMF established, you need to have a few customers, and that's when most of the money unlocks. What about those who are at idea stage? What about those who are business-minded and don't have a technology co-founder or a partner? Most of the venture capitalists probably won't touch you. And that's where we say there's a white space we all need to step in and work. We are very happy and proud as Wiser to be in that space. And of course, we look forward to TiE hand-holding, mentorship, and obviously co-partnering. The other, of course, is there's a lot of nexus of premier institutes, great metros, all of that. I think India is a diverse, dynamic place, and we need to explore a lot more beyond the fancy metros that we all come from or probably are proud of. Happy to be here and look at tier 2, tier 3 sounds and other growing eco and infrastructure of India, which is probably going to compete with metro at any point in terms of talent. So very happy to be doing that. The other, of course, 2 other points that we can all probably step forward, and I know I'm going to do our bit, is any idea? Well, you just look at the room around, and I represent the only woman on the dais, and of course, I'm privileged to be sitting amongst distinguished men who have such excellent track record. But sometimes it can be a little intimidating when you walk in a room and you see all blue and black suits, and you're wondering, oh, so we try to fit in. But the beauty is, I think we must look at how can we bubble up more women entrepreneurs, and especially women in tech. And lastly, I'll close on a point saying, very, very happy, excited, proud to be partnering in an MOU with TIE and STPI. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We are indeed privileged, honored, and blessed. And we see this more as, not just an MOU, but a commitment to all come together, to collaborate, handhold the startups, guide them, mentor them, because I think the game is a lot more than just money. Thank you so much. Let's make India brighter and better. Thank you.
Well, what a positive and energetic address that was. Never too late to start and never too late to give back to the society. I would say that's a wise advice from the wiser co-founder. Thank you so much. Well, we have with us our investor partner, Mr. Kumar Sorab, venture capitalist, an ex-entrepreneur turned venture capitalist. He brings over 6 years of experience in the startup ecosystem, has worked in multiple industries such as early stage startups, angel network, consulting, incubator, accelerator, venture capital fund. He's been invited as a keynote speaker, jury member, mentor on various prestigious platforms, including IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, Startup Odisha, and many others. He has been mentoring early stage entrepreneurs and startups as well. I'll now request him to address this gathering.
गुड मॉर्निंग उड़ीसा. नाश्ता नहीं किया लगता है. लेट्स ट्राई वंस अगेन. गुड मॉर्निंग उड़ीसा. सिर्फ 2 पराठे. लेट्स गिव इट वंस मोर. गुड मॉर्निंग उड़ीसा. गुड. 3 तो खा ही लिए. So it's a very proud moment for me, and I'm feeling very privileged to share the stage with such elders. I'll not say the distinguished guests and all. Just 27 years, all of these guys are carrying at least an experience of more than 15 plus years. I'm here only with 6 years, as already Diksha mentioned. Supriya mentioned that the whole room is full of black and blue suits. That's why I tried my best to make it some colorful and bring color to the room. In my introduction, Diksha also mentioned that I identify myself as an ecosystem enabler. How many of you have watched Mirzapur? Anyway, right? So quite a lot. And so Mirzapur is also not even a tier 2 city, it's a tier 3 city in UP, and it's belong from a region that we call as Purvanchal, which consists of Mirzapur, Gazipur, Banaras, Gorakhpur and all. I come from the same region. I being the first family member from my whole family being in the corporate. Because all of my other father, my grandfather, my uncles, and everyone has been serving in Indian Army for decades now. I took that leap and, fought with my own family and said, no, I'm not going to do engineering and join armed forces. I'm going to do something of my own. And that's where just after the college, I tried to, try my hands on entrepreneurship as well. Miserably failed within 1.5 years. But the beauty of startup ecosystem and being an entrepreneur is, you learn a lot which you could possibly learn from any of the degrees, not just in India, but in the world. Even though I failed miserably, but that gives me an understanding about how a business works. And that gives me an opportunity to join an angel network as a venture partner directly. From a college fresher man, to a venture partner as an angel network. Then I worked with the startups, helped them in raising funds. worked with Department of Science and Technology for their incubation projects. Now currently working with India's one of the largest VC funds in India. I think Diksha forgot to mention my designation. That's ecosystem manager. That's very typically new for anyone because it's a very one of a kind designation which is now getting famous among the VC funds across India and across the world. Someone also may call it as a head of VC platform activities, what we do actually. The what work STPI has been doing for many years, now, past couple of years, let's say 4 or 5 years, we have been hearing a lot of initiatives from the government or, from locally private institutions or organizations that, okay, someone is starting an incubation center. There is an accelerator center in this city, such and such city, right? Government is launching their own, nodal agency as a startup, Government of Odisha has a startup Odisha. But I think STPI is the true in its sense, can be called as a mixture of incubation center, accelerator, and the term which was not known when it comes into the existence, that is co-working space. Am I right, sir? And truly a tech incubation center. I have visited their couple of centers. They have such machineries which none of the incubation centers can afford. I know it's because there is a government backing behind it. But since it's starting, STPI is more inclined towards supporting SMEs and tech companies, not necessarily the startups. But past, I think 4 or 5 years, I have been seeing STPI getting more indulged into the startup ecosystem as well and coming up with new initiatives. How it helps, not just the startups, us as well. Being an investor, we also need help from the ecosystem. Because eventually, when we raise money, we are not investing our own money into the startups, right? We go and ask someone to come and give money to us and then we invest. How these organizations like STPI and different other nodal agencies like Atal Innovation Mission and all, how these guys help us and these kind of programs helps us. Because our job is to invest money, right? We being sitting in Bombay, Bangalore or Delhi, we hardly get any time or opportunities to go and fill our pipeline or evaluate startups from tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India. That's where these kind of programs and these organizations comes into the picture, where they fill this gap, where they bring two ends of a river and make a bridge so that one can travel from one end to another. And that is what my role at a fund as well. I'll just give you a couple of lines about us. We started in 2016 with an angel network. When we started, we were initially an angel network. Now we are India's first multi-stage VC firm, which means we start investing at pre-seed and we end up till Series B+. We have a corpus of more than $500 million. We have invested till now in more than 350 startups. 4 or 5 of them fortunately gave us good returns and they are billion-dollar startups as well. Our death rate, okay, can anyone from the audience can tell me what is the death rate means and what is the death rate or the survival rate of startups? Out of how many startups actually fail and how many success? Can anyone? No. So the industry is around 10% survives, and 90% dies. But in our portfolio, we have a death rate less than 7%. And that is only possible because, as Supriya also mentioned, money cannot solve all of your problems. Let's say if today I'm going to like any startup, it would not have been possible if STPI would not have launched this initiative. I could not have got a call from TiE Delhi and being invited as a guest here. So neither I would have the opportunity to interact with you, neither you guys would have the opportunity to interact with me and present your startup or the ideas, right? So these kind of initiatives, we at Venture Catalyst have been already working with TiE through different of their chapters. TIE Mumbai specifically and TIE Delhi NCR. And we already work with AIM, Atal Innovation Mission, where we launched 2 challenges where we funded startups. One is startup $1 million check. And same thing we would love to do here. And I'll tell you one thing is like India is growing fast, and that's where we are also able to raise money more and more again and again. And this money we are able to raise because of you guys, because the entrepreneurs from India are so capable and so hustlers in themselves, fighters in themselves, that they are proving all the myths about India and its traditional society wrong. You guys are breaking the ceilings, and you guys are taking India to the next level, and that's where we come into the picture. And because of your results, we are able to raise money. We are not investing money, and we are not doing something extraordinary to help you out. It's actually because of you guys we are able to raise money, and we are just reciprocating you guys. Again, I'll thank TIE Bhubaneswar for locally managing and collaborating with this, TIE Delhi NCR doing it on a national level, and STPI again, hands of applause, sir. And again, all of you, thank you all of you for coming on a weekday, leaving your offices, schools, colleges, your ministries, sir. Thank you, thanks a lot.
Some valuable inputs for the startup ecosystem from the ecosystem manager of Venture Catalyst. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for exchange of MOUs with our investors here. And I wish to invite some of the investor partners who are here today with us to join us for the exchange of MOUs. So we would, for the first one, we would like to invite Mr. Debu Patnaik, member Bhubaneswar Angel. And along with that, we'd like to invite Ms. Upasana Sharma, Joint Executive Director, TIE Delhi NCR. I'll also request Director STPI, Mr. Sujay Kumar Patnaik, to please come forward for these exchange of MOU. The first one. All right, that was the first. I'd like to thank Mr. Patnaik. I'll request Ms. Sharma and Mr. Patnaik, Mr. Sujay Patnaik, to continue being with us, as I now invite Ms. Supriya Dhanda, co-founder, managing partner, Wiser, along with Mr. AK Mahanti to join for the next exchange of MOU. The other partner, Mr. AK Mahanti, I'll also request. Thank you. I'll request Ms. Sharma and Mr. Patnaik to stay back, and I'll now like to invite Mr. Kumar Sorab, the ecosystem manager from Venture Catalyst, to come forward for the MOU exchange. Thank you, investors. What a powerful and promising start to a path-breaking program. So thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us Mr. Pradeep Gupta, mentor, NGIS, chairman and MD, Cyber Media. A first-generation entrepreneur along with his family members, he promoted Cyber Media in 1982. He is an industry veteran of 40 years and is highly reputed in the IT industry. He is on the board of IIM Calcutta Innovation Park. He was a global trustee of TIE, the world's largest entrepreneurial ecosystem. He was also on the board of UTI AMC and its subsidiary UTI Capital. He was conferred the National Entrepreneurship Award as the best mentor by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, as he mentored over 150 startups. He's the co-founder of Indian Angel Network, is the recipient of the Distinguished Alumni Award of IIT Delhi and the Helen Keller Award for working in the disability sector. It'll be an honor to request him to share his thoughts with us now.
So thank you very much, and a good morning to everybody. Honorable Minister, Mr. Secretary, other members on the dais, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. Leap Ahead. Today we are here to talk about Leap Ahead. And indeed, the startup ecosystem requires several leaps ahead. And I'm so glad that two very important communities are coming together in order to ensure that the right ingredients are there for this leap ahead. So if you look at TIE NGIS, it is India's largest ecosystem as far as incubation is concerned. So there are more than, more than 1,000 companies that would be probably in the NGIS network. And indeed, that makes it absolutely unmatchable. In fact, I would not be too surprised if it is the largest incubator anywhere in the world. So with 1,000 plus entrepreneurs at different sort of stages, at idea stage, at POC stage, at early market stage, and growing up to raising venture funds and Series A, Series B, and so on, you have all varieties of companies that are today there in the STPI stable in the 28 Center of Excellences and NGIS projects that have been created. The second important ingredient to this leap ahead is TIE. And TIE is, as you know, the world's largest entrepreneurial ecosystem. And with two very important ingredients in TIE, one is that yes, there are a lot of entrepreneurs. The other side is also that, you have the charter members who are very successful entrepreneurs with an idea of give back. And therefore, these are the people who help companies grow. These are the people who help companies mentor companies, give them the right connections, and so on. And when this explosive combination happens, the NGIS coming together with TIE, then I don't think there is any other option but to leap ahead. And that is what this program is indeed designed to do. I have my leg in both boats in terms of the STPI boat as well as the TIE boat, because, the introduction that you gave, I've been associated with the EP Delhi, which was the first project which became the blueprint for all the Center of Excellences that came up, and then EP Bhubaneswar, also a number of other COEs, I'm associated with those. And of course, TIE was instrumental in the late 90s in getting TIE into the country. And in fact, in the launch of TIE Bhubaneswar also. So at that time also, so very old association with TIE. And I think this combination, again, as I said, is a very explosive combination that is there. I'm sure all of you have heard of Y Combinator. Okay. A Y Combinator has been hugely successful globally. India, we do not have a Y Combinator. And I think Leap Ahead actually promises to be that Y Combinator. Because here what we are talking about is not just NGIS and TIE coming together, but beyond that, we are also talking about connecting all the dots of the ecosystem in terms of whether it is funding, whether it is ensuring that early connects take place, ensuring that people start building up projects which are not just for India but for the world. So, the real leap ahead would not just be that we take startups and ensure that Vijay ho, but I think we have to go on a path where Digvijay ho. We have to conquer the entire world. So that is the sort of a leap ahead that is envisaged through this program. Probably the amount of money also which is being given to the companies which will be finally selected. There are these 3 sessions which are happening. One here, this is the first one here in Bhubaneswar. And after that, there is one in Vijayawada and then in Chandigarh. There are 350 companies that have already applied. And out of those 350 companies, jury tonight, this evening will select some here, some in Vijayawada, some in Chandigarh, and then after that there will be virtual selection. And these companies are going to get a total funding of 1 crore. Okay. So this also is a very, very large amount of funding which is being provided to ensure that, the Y Combinator kind of results actually come about. So this is the start of that leap ahead, and I'm so glad that I'm part of probably history being made, because this is going to be the first true accelerator in India, and it is going to ensure that there are some of you sitting in this room who are really going to leap ahead. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for so simply yet effectively explaining about the Leap Ahead program. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are truly privileged to have the esteemed presence of our guest of honor, Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Principal Secretary, Electronics and IT Department, Government of Odisha. One of the most dynamic administrative officers of Odisha, Shri Manoj Mishra, as we all know, serves as the Principal Secretary of the Electronics and IT Department, and it is under his watch that Odisha has seen a remarkable growth in strategic projects in key sectors such as IT, transport, railway and ports infrastructure. Also, officer on special duty to the Chief Minister's office, much of the credit for the growing footprints of global IT and service sector giants in the state today goes to Shri Mishra. An IITS officer of 2000 batch who has earlier served on important assignments of East Coast Railway, he has been instrumental in delivery of key e-governance projects for public service delivery in Odisha. So it will be a privilege to now request Shri Mishra to address this wonderful gathering.
Thank you so much, Diksha. I think your introductions are a little longer than some of our speeches. So where do we start? It's an event of STPI, so I must talk about STPI and Government of Odisha to begin with. The association that we have is something that we are very proud of. From the state side, is the only state in the country where very soon we'll have 8 STPI centers. I think the next state would be about 4. There is no event of STPI Bhubaneswar or STPI Odisha where the Government of Odisha doesn't participate financially 50%. So all the centers, all incubation, all accelerators, we have a blank check for them, because we fully trust the process that the STPI has, and we fully trust with what gravitas STPI comes in the IT sphere. In fact, we did so much that we poached their ex-DG to head our startup Odisha. The world is changing. I will not be able to talk more about NGIS, which Pradeep ji has told, the world is changing very fast. So I need to address all of you. My salutation before that to Honorable Minister who has taken time. Pradeep ji, two from the industries, Supriya and Kumar, both my friends Patnaik and Mahanti, we all work together. So with this salutation, I'll just begin. The world is changing because of AI. We gather here today to recognize startups in the space of tech. Now you tell me, what is a normal company and what is a tech company? How do you differentiate? I think that's a very hard job that you have taken to yourself, to find tech companies and to recognize them. Last 4 years, we all have been witnessing, there is no company which can exist without enough adoption of tech. And tech used to be a vertical in a company. The business process used to be different. Tech used to help. Now, tech is the business process. So you talk about anything, you talk about Indigo, is it an airline? It's a completely tech company. There's nothing that you do without tech. When you board a flight, take it, reach your destination, book your food, whichever means you see. You see Zomato, you name companies, Uber, Ola, you name anything, they do provide a service, but that service is laden with, it's not laced with, it is completely full with tech. And tech is changing the entire world. And how is it changing the entire world? I saw when we went to the west coast of USA, that if in the first 5 sentences, if you are not speaking about AI, then you are not in the hall. So what is AI going to do to all of you who are thinking about ideas, startups to make your mark? It's going to be a different field. So I'll say something which may not be palatable to you today, but maybe once you become a little wiser, is a oft-repeated word today, you possibly will be able to understand what I meant today by saying that it's not a very rosy world. Tech is going to solve most of our problems. Our requirement to solve problems will reduce as we know problems today. So we know problems today. You name any of the problems that you think, our startups are thinking about identifying that problem and trying to solve that problem. That solution of the problem will be automated. It will not require much of your input. It would not require much of government support. It would not require anything. And when we are talking about startups, it's much more easier. The competition that you will face is far more immense, primarily because the entry barrier is zero. Thanks to STPI and TIE and others, they are promoting all of them. And to get a lakh of rupees is nothing. You will get it tomorrow if you want. But more importantly, why the entry barrier is now very low is because earlier, if you require tech, you would require hardware. Now hardware comes as a service. You don't require to build a data center, you don't require to build servers. Those are gone. So your cost of entry to provide a startup solution to the community is extremely low now. That's hardware. Let's talk about software. That's one of the biggest areas where you spend a lot of money. So whether you have a front ending, your back end processes, whatever you do to take solutions to the larger mass, you would require a lot of software. And that software is getting automated. Now if the hardware is available as a service, software is automated. What are you left to do for yourself? Human beings will be required to only identify new problems. This is what I feel. Very honestly, I feel that our job is not necessarily to solve problems, but to identify them. Solution of the problems comes from iterations. Iterations, computer will do better. Computer has 1,000 brains of ours, memories. They will be able to give you 10,000 examples and give you solutions. And it will construct the solution and give it to you on a silver platter. But computers cannot identify the problem. So identification problem is the area in which I would like all of you to think a little. And think big. We talk about today, we are here in Bhubaneswar, a tier 2 city. And this is where I think is an advantage to tier 2, tier 3 cities, is that our kids, or irrespective of the age, our people have gone through hardship. You can't really find problems sitting in very cozy office in Bombay, or you, on your father's money getting a corner office in a corporate world. You will not be able to identify that problem. You will identify the problem if you are not getting a newspaper at your home, you are not able to go to fetch your milk in the morning. If you have gone through this, you will be able to identify the problem of the mass. 140 crore is what we are. Almost about 7.5 billion people in the world. Only 1% as privileged. Startups will break that privilege. It is your world. If you are ready for it, think about yourself, think about your community, identify that problem. The world is yours, world is your oyster. Organizations like STPI, TIE, the government, we are all there to facilitate, handhold, provide mentorship like Pradeep ji is doing for the last 20 years, at least that I know of. All this you will get, and you will get it much more easier, much more money. Those things you will get. Don't concentrate on those. Find the problem. That's where your key to success lies. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir, for that very insightful address, and apologies for keeping introductions long, but when you have such eminent personalities, it is challenging to keep the introduction short as well. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that STPI has been nurturing startups, and now it is the time to provide checks for seed fund grants to 2 incubatee startups from Electropreneur Park of Bhubaneswar. I'll request Honorable Minister Shri Tushar Kanti Behera and Principal Secretary Shri Manoj Mishra to hand over the checks to these 2 startups, accompanied by other esteemed guests on desk. So with a round of applause, let's invite the first one from Think Crore Innovative Solution Private Limited. We have Ms. Minashri Madhumata, co-founder. Like to invite her on stage. And yes, let's do it a little more, with a little more of energy. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Could I now invite on stage from Velotech Innovation Private Limited, Mr. Sachin Kumar Singh and Ms. Kajal Mishra. Congratulations. Thank you so much to esteemed dignitaries. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from the beginning of the event, we've been hearing a lot about the Leap Ahead program, this remarkable opportunity for startups to accelerate their growth. We also have a video that actually tells us some more about the Leap Ahead program. So let's take a look at the video. So we truly hope that this initiative helps you all to leap ahead and scale up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a matter of pride and prestige for us that Shri Tushar Kanti Behera, Honorable Minister of State, Electronics and IT, Sports and Youth Services, Government of Odisha, has joined the inaugural ceremony of Leap Ahead as a chief guest. One of the bright young faces of Odisha government, he hems key departments like the Electronics, IT, Sports and Youth Services, and has led admirably and taken forward Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik's dream of turning the state into a sports hub with a robust ecosystem in the country. An IIT alumnus, he is also known to be very hands-on with his leadership. I'll request him to now address this gathering.
A very good morning, one and all. Principal Secretary, Electronics and IT Department, Sri Manoj Mishra, Mentor NGIS and Chairman and MD Cyber Media, Sri Pradeep Gupta, Director STPI Bhubaneswar, Sri Surya Kumar Patnaik, Sri Kumar Sorab, Ecosystem Manager from Venture Catalyst, Co-founder and Managing Partner, Advisor, Mrs. Supriya Dhanda, President TAI Bhubaneswar, Sri AK Mahanti, distinguished guests, speakers, delegates from tech startups, innovators, mentors, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. I feel a great sense of joy to stand here amongst so many innovative minds and accomplished leaders in the Leap Ahead Startup Summit today by STPI and other associates. At the outset, I would like to compliment STPI for organizing this event, which is a pioneering initiative by STPI to promote startup, to scale a next height and build a robust startup ecosystem in the state and the country. I stand before you today to shed light on the vibrant startup ecosystem of Odisha, a state that has emerged as a beacon of innovation and entrepreneurship in recent years. Odisha's remarkable achievements, which has become possible and spearheaded by the visionary leadership of Honorable Chief Minister Sri Naveen Patnaik, his guidance, foresight and unwavering commitment to the state's progress have been instrumental in shaping Odisha's journey towards innovation and excellence. Under his leadership, Odisha has undergone a remarkable transformation, emerging as one of the most dynamic and rapidly developing states in our nation. His vision of inclusiveness and sustainable development has been the driving force behind the state's unprecedented growth across various sectors, including startup. The journey of progress and development that Odisha has embarked upon is nothing short of inspiring and exemplary. From its rich cultural heritage of maritime history of trade, which observed yesterday on the day of Kartik Purnima, to its burgeoning economy, Odisha's evolution has been awe-inspiring. The state's commitment to innovation, sustainable growth and inclusive development has paved the way for unprecedented opportunities and advancements, has seamlessly transitioned into a hub for aspiring entrepreneurs. It fosters a dynamic and thriving startup ecosystem. The last 2.5 decades have witnessed the rise of Odisha as a shining example of what can be achieved through strategies, planning, effective governance, and a resilient spirit. Government of Odisha has launched state startup policy in 2016 with aspiration to develop a world-class startup hub in Odisha and creating an enabling environment and supporting ecosystem that facilitates at least 5,000 startups by 2025 in the state. Odisha has been recognized as the top performer in state startup ranking in developing a strong startup ecosystem in the state. With conducive ecosystem, policy intervention and exemplary initiatives, the state has emerged as a pioneer in the startup capacity building. As one of the most successful startup ecosystem in the country, the state has 1,780 numbers of startup now registered under Startup Odisha, out of which 140 startups are granted seed fund and 21 venture funded in the state. There is provision of 100 crores of funds for startups. We have 25 registered incubators, 5 lakh of incubation spaces, 5 lakh square feet of incubation spaces, 15 nodal agencies, 75 e-cells, are facilitating the startup ecosystem by creating a larger startup ecosystem in the country. The state supports grant of 20,000 rupees per month for 1 year period during idea stage to startup. Grant up to rupees 15 lakh of support is provided for product development and marketing assistance. In case of women entrepreneurs, the amount is rupees 22,000 and up to rupees 16 lakh respectively. Under its flagship Odisha Youth Innovation Award, an amount of rupees 50,000 at idea stage, rupees 1 lakh at prototype stage and rupees 3 lakh at scale-up stage are provided to a large number of innovating startups every year. State of Odisha is aspiring to be amongst the top 3 startup hubs in India through strategic partnerships, conducive ecosystem and policy interventions. Collaboration has been another pillar of Odisha's startup success. The ecosystem encourages collaboration between startups, established companies, academic institutions and government agencies. This collaborative spirit has created a synergistic environment where ideas can be shared, resources are pooled and collective efforts can lead to groundbreaking innovations. Furthermore, the availability of seed fund and venture capital has provided the necessary financial support for startups to scale their operations. This infusion of capital has not only helped startups grow, but also has attracted talent from across the country, creating a dynamic and competitive landscape. The Leap Ahead initiative of STPI is a significant step to boost and reinforce our strength and commitment to fostering innovation, entrepreneurship and sustainable development. The government's supportive policies, focus on technology for social impact and the collaborative spirit within the ecosystem have collectively contributed to making Odisha a shining example of how a state can transform itself into a thriving hub of startups. As you witness the success stories emerging from Odisha, let us be inspired to support and nurture more and more startups by fostering a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship that can drive progress and prosperity for our state and nation as a whole. We look forward to continuing this collaborative partnership with STPI and Government of India to achieve more success in the startup landscape that will further inspire, accelerate and uplift. We can continue to set new benchmarks in startup movement in state and create a brighter future for the youth and people of Odisha. Thank you. Jai Jagannath. Bande Uttar Jagannath.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very informative and encouraging words. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to take this opportunity to felicitate all our esteemed guests on dais with a memento as a token of appreciation for gracing the inaugural ceremony of Leap Ahead. May I first request the Director STPI, Shri Sujay Kumar Patnaik, to present a memento to our Honorable Minister, Shri Tushar Kanti Behra. I'll request Shri Patnaik to present a memento to our Principal Secretary, Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra. I'll request the Director STPI to now present a memento to Shri Pradeep Gupta. I'll now request Additional Director, STPI, Shri S.R. Patra, to present a memento to Shri AK Mahanti. I'll request Shri Patra to present a memento to Ms. Supriya Dhanda. I'll also request Shri Patra to present a memento to Mr. Kumar Sorab. I'll now request the Additional Director STPI to also present a memento to Shri Sujay Kumar Patnaik. the Director, STPI Bhubaneswar. May I now request Shri S.R. Patro to present the vote of thanks.
Namaskar. Esteemed dignitaries and dais, it is my distinct honor and privilege to stand before you today to deliver vote of thanks on behalf of STPI at the flagship event of LeapID Startup Summit. First and foremost, I would like to express my profound gratitude to Sri Tushar Kanti Bear, Honorable Minister of State, Electronics and IT Department, Sports and Youth Services, for his wholehearted support with a single agenda of promoting IT from the state. Like Principal Secretary IT said that IT department, the IT Electronics and IT department has been very kind enough to giving a blank check for any IT development activities initiated by STPI. We work in tandem and sir will assure you we will make it a success through your wholehearted support. Thank you, sir. And IT company always prefer instant result. They want they give input and they expect lots of parallel processing, quantum processing and results. Okay, this is, I want to specially mention names Sri Manoj Kumar Misra, Principal Secretary, Electronics IT Department, for whom I have sort of words. As an industry, whenever, because many of you are from startup community, because the IT industry, whenever there escalate any problem without no time and it gets resolved. Okay, this is kind of like a dedication, this is kind of, it is a symbol of like a development, it is a symbol of dynamic and the like a symbol of determination for the promotion of IT industry in the state. He is driving the IT growth story, and it will be amassed. It is heartening. I am not exaggerating, because as a catalyst for the IT industries, this is my honest submission that you will see after 3 to 4 years, the who of the IT industries and semiconductor companies are coming to Odisha. The quantum investments are being made. The quantum of IT space are coming. Bhubaneswar will be emerge as the next Bangalore, I'll assure you, under his leadership, under the guidance of Honorable CM and Honorable Minister of Electronics and IT. And my sincere thanks to Sri Pradeep Gupta ji, CMD Cyber Media, and industry stalwart whose vision, vista and guiding are the guiding force for our startup for their sustainable growth. He is spearheading the mentorship activities for the startup of our Electropreneur Park Bhubaneswar, the NGIS activities and Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, which gives support to the innovative startups. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Sri Surya Kumar Patnaik, Director STPI Bhubaneswar, who is instrumental for organizing today's event. My special thanks to Sri Kumar Sorab, ecosystem partner from Venture Catalyst, Mr. Supriya Dhanda, co-founder and managing partner, Wiser, Sri AK Mahanti, President TiE Bhubaneswar, who has been with us from very advanced establishment of STPI, and for sharing their enriching experience and insightful thoughts on rapidly evolving startup landscape of the country. I would like to express my thanks to our esteemed speakers, panelists, jury members who have graced us, and to share the individual insights, thoughts, and wisdom in the technical sessions. Last, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to DG STPI and STPI management for choosing Bhubaneswar to host the LeapID Startup Summit, and my special thanks to all my colleagues at STPI headquarters who is here and who is at New Delhi, and my colleagues at Bhubaneswar, and I would like to each and every startup's dignitaries participant of the conclave. Your active participation and keen interest have contributed to the vibrancy of this conclave. At last, I can say that LeapID Summit will put our startups ahead in all spheres. Thank you once again, my colleagues, and all speakers, Manchar, attendees, and everyone who played a part in the making session resounding success. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you to all our esteemed dignitaries for launching this initiative. I hope all of you will not just participate, but also spread the word to each corner of the country so that all deserving founders can get an opportunity to participate in this wonderful initiative and get access to mentorship and funding. right? Well, we can now request everybody to take their refreshment over a tea break and join us back in 30 minutes for the panel discussion on corporate startup collaboration. And yes, you're also free to do chai pe charcha. So charcha continues after chai as well, and chai pe bhi charcha ho sakti hai. So take a short tea break and join us back.
I request you all to be please seated. We begin? Shall we begin? Rajesh, so we begin now? Okay. Okay. Namaskar. It's good noon. And to start with, regards to all on the dais and off the dais. This is a very interesting topic. Actually, innovation does not start with technology, but with the people who create it. And contemporary rapid market and the technology advancements that's happening that require companies to be more adaptive and assertive in their pursuit of innovation. And an arrangement between a corporate body and a startup can lead to different risks and opportunities alike. It's for both the startups and the industry bodies. To understand this more clearly from the leaders themselves, so let us very quickly get into the need of the hour topic, that is corporate startup collaboration. And since we have a room full of startups waiting eagerly for their products to be deployed or to do a pilot with the industry, let me begin with the question to Madam Vinuta Patra, who's a Group General Manager, NALCO. Madam, what are the critical measures to be followed by the startups before approaching to the corporates for a seamless product acceptance by the industry?
Hello, am I audible? Okay. First of all, let me thank LOPA for that kind introduction, and I would like to congratulate the organizing committee for this conference. Okay, well, as my introduction says, I am a hardcore a person who has worked in industry for more than 37 years. I'm basically a chemical engineer. So I don't really synchronize with this IoT and all these, leap ahead things. But definitely if the startups, they can bring the industry and make it happen, make it leap forward with their innovations. And as she said, innovation is, it creates R&D, and innovation is an attitude. Every person, they do not have that, but if one has that, he can really leap, he himself can leap forward and help the industry. Now, coming to her question that how the industry can collaborate with startups for a seamless integration, I would say that in last few years, this startup phenomenon has, very aggressive, and what we are seeing under this government is really worth it. First of all, what industry looks for when you have a product, the innovation, when you're coming with an innovation, that person who is innovating should have a domain knowledge. Suppose you're coming to my industry, that is aluminum industry. Now, where you want to put your product, where you want to use it. So first of all, some sort of research is required. That what is the application, what are the parameters, where you want to put your product and use it. So, of course, we have an MOU with STPI, and we have R&D collaboration with IoT things also with NIT and IITs also. And we have deployed some IoT products in our production facilities. Like examples I can give you, just 2 days back we have installed one sensor for this lean slurry pipe system, where we can really see in our mobile what is the pressure and whether leakage is going to occur or not. So that sort of deployment we do. But again, before that, we want to be very sure that the product is going to work in our facility. So coming to my ministry under which we are working, that is Ministry of Mines, NALCO comes under that. We have, this time you may see the Satyabhama portal, where we have announced the submission of application for R&D projects, where I was also in the committee, where we have given the topics of directed R&D, and in that we have some topics like development of online instruments, in situ instruments for detection of impurities in scrap metal, so that because we are talking about recycling these days. So that is one thing which this instrumentation people can do. And we also need all these chemical industry and metallurgical industries, we need sensors. Sensors for high temperature application, high corrosive atmosphere application, where all of you can really work. And of course, analytical instruments. I am heading a lab where we have all the analytical instruments which are mostly imported, and they come with a very high cost. For if some work can be, started in that respect, it will be a great help for the industry. And then coming to another aspect which I would like to invite your attraction is, again, our ministry has announced another startup that is called PRISM, Promotion of Research and Innovation in Metal, Mining and Recycling sector, where we are promoting this startups by giving a fund of 50 lakhs and then 1 crore, and then some fund also for incubation center. So this is all. I think
Thank you.
I would not take much of time. I think.
Thank you, thank you.
So
So it's for all the tech entrepreneurs to take a note of this. And Madam, I would just like to say that no department or no segment now is standalone. It's all interdisciplinary. So domain knowledge, as Madam said, is needed with a customer-specific custom solution that may help a startup create a product that can be scalable and accessible. From someone who has worked extensively in startup corporate collaboration, my next question is to Mr. Rajesh Ram Mishra, who is the Chief Mentor of NGIS and ex-President ISA. Sir, in the age of Gen AI, how relevant do you think is a corporate startup collaboration is, and why it is specifically more important now?
Hello. Thank you, Lopa, and good afternoon, all of you. Just before I start answering the question, I want to say that I've been associated with STPI on the NGIS, which is basically promoting startups from this region. And I'll tell you that we provide up to 30 lakhs part of the Chunauti program in terms of funding and the grant. Around 23% of total startups who have been funded across India are from this region. Okay, I think all of you need a big clap for that. And it is very happy to know that we are now increasing our the acceleration in terms of announcing up to 1 crore funding. I think, and then all the best to all of you who are going to pitch in today, right, in terms of winning it. So coming back to why corporate venture is critical today, right? Okay, if you are tracking, there are lots of articles. There's an excellent HBS article which says that if you look at it, the VC funding, in India is on decline, primarily because there are a lot of hype during COVID, post-COVID, that everything will become online and all that has not happened. So it has gone down from around 50 billion to 25 billion last year, right? Okay. Whereas if you look at corporate ventures, okay, globally, it has gone up by 150% year on year. So that means you have a lot more funds available from corporate ventures today to attract than the other VCs. And it could have multiple reasons, right? One is that there is a fear that, are we missing out into something? But the critical factor is that, something called open innovation, which all of you might be knowing earlier. Most of the products, R&D, like what Madam was saying, are all done in-house in corporates, okay? But now there's a realization that it's not possible keeping in pace with the technology advancement and all that, and also the R&D investment which is needed. So a lot of openness is there in terms of collaboration and co-building the IPs and everything. That's why the open innovation is driving a lot of collaboration with startups and corporates, okay? The second part, which is, driving, if you just give an example, Qualcomm Ventures, that is one of the oldest, corporate ventures, started in year 2000. Till date, they have 122 successful exits, means ventures they funded have become successful and they have recovered their money. Among them, there are 25 unicorns they have created, okay. So there are a lot of advantages of looking at corporate ventures. Typically, Lopa is driving this whole entrepreneur park, we are doing electronic products and all that. Anywhere you are very closely associated with selection of a technology, whether it is hardware or in a software platform, it is good to be associated with that corporation which is providing that, right? Okay. And you would have seen what Microsoft has done to ChatGPT, right? They brought back back to ChatGPT when he was fired from the board. Okay, so corporate VCs have a lot of clout today in terms of controlling how a successful startup happens, right? Okay, and what are the 3-4 factors which are driving that? One, I talked about open innovation. The second is that this whole concept around the generative AI and all. Okay, so everybody is every corporation is looking at how do I adapt these large language models and AI into my service offerings or into improving my customer, experience and all that. And many of them are not comfortable today using what is available in public domain. Okay, they want to implement their own private version of it. So the current data says around 20-25% of the corporations are implementing their own AI and LLM models and all that for generative AI. So there's a huge opportunity and they don't understand, like Madam said, she understands the process of the alumina creation or whatever, but how IoT works with it, that is not their forte. So same way, most of the corporations, they know that I have to adopt AI or ML, okay, but how do I do it, they don't know, and that's where I think all of you play a big role, and there is a lot of appetite for adopting you all. Okay, I think, and the last one I would say that SDG, that is a sustainable development goal all of the companies have. Like Intel Corporation, they have that, they want to be net carbon zero footprint by 2040, okay. But nobody has a clue, how do I become net zero, carbon zero footprint, okay. And they have allocated $300 million to achieve that, okay. So all that fund, whether you look at any large corporation, now they have a sustainability goal. All that money is for you to kind of grab it if you have an startup targeting that market, okay. I think to me, these are the factors which are driving it.
Thank you so much, sir. Absolutely. Actually, entrepreneurs and corporate VCs are actually now recognizing that corporate innovation or open innovation, as you said, is actually a strong node to develop the ecosystem as a whole. Coming to facilitators in the ecosystem, my next question is to Mr. Subrat Kumar Prushti, Director Technology, Department of Telecommunication, Bhubaneswar. Sir, as the demand in sectors of emerging technology areas like 5G, high-speed communication is increasingly being used by startups, we would like to know how government DOT is assisting them to provide the required test bed and testing infrastructure, or how is it helping them to connect to the industry bodies? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I thank STPI for giving this opportunity. Department Telecom, as you know, is now promoting different type of research and innovation. There are two types of funds. One is called Telecom Technology Development Fund and another is Digital Communication Innovation Square Fund. The Telecom Technology Development Fund is for indigenous technology which is capital intensive, maybe more than 10 crore. And the another fund, that is Digital Communication Innovation Square Fund, it is actually below 10 crore. And around 87 companies have benefited from this DCIS, Digital Communication Innovation Square Fund. But unfortunately from Odisha, very few have taken this benefit. And as you know, now technology has percolated each and every vertical. So we have 21 ministries of Government of India and also state government all coming together to discuss how in each ministry all these new technologies that can be used to enhance the productivity. So we have something called a vertical engagement program. That vertical engagement program is for agriculture, for mining, for industry, for health, and all types of sectors around these 21 sectors. So all of you, those who are interested, they can go to the website that bharatdigicom.in and can see all the Indian Institute of Technology, all the engineering colleges, all the Indian companies are there in the website. And you can get sufficient technical materials and collaborative materials how as a startup or as a MSME you can leverage those technologies. Number two, we have actually, as our Honorable Prime Minister has declared, that there will be 100 5G use case laboratories in the country. Fortunately, from Odisha, 4 engineering colleges have been selected: IIT Bhubaneswar, NIT Rourkela, Shiksha Anusandhan, and KIT University. So, in these 4 institutes, government will set up the 5G use case labs. And these 5G use cases labs will be given free of cost access to startups and MSMEs who are working on this field. So, I think purchase order will be issued within 1 week. So, shortly, all the startups, those who want to use these laboratories and develop their products, they can contact me and also the corresponding institutes so that they can develop their use cases corresponding to those products. Actually, what we have seen that many companies are now innovating on ICT space. There are 2 types of things. One is developing ICT products itself. Another is developing ICT applications using the technology things. So, one part that I have showed, that if you are developing some ICT products, DOT is eager to help you, because in telecommunication, mostly it is dominated by Western or Chinese companies. So, any company who wants to develop some ICT products, they are also welcome. And as far as I have told that today, what our Principal Secretary is told, identify the problems. And as you know, we are going to remotest places of Odisha, taking 4G connectivity to them using Universal Service Obligation Fund. We have 6,000 4G telecom towers are coming in different parts of Odisha where there is no road, where there is no electricity, where there is no other items, but they have a mobile tower giving 4G connectivity. So, I will request the people, the startups who are actually primarily in towns or cities to go to those areas which are not developed till today. So, I called that concept total development of local area. TODOLA, TODOLA.
I hope everyone is taking note of the schemes that is mentioned by
and
sir.
Develop those local areas also. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I hope everyone has taken a note of the whatever schemes sir had just mentioned, and we all apply for that. For someone who has been on both sides of the table, working very closely with the startups as well as the industry, my next question is to Mr. Prashant Biswal, Head CSR and Corporate Relations, JSW. Sir, how do you think that corporates and PSUs assist startups in various areas such as regulatory frameworks, infrastructure, distribution channels, and customer reach? How exactly can corporates or PSUs assist the startups? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Lopa. Good afternoon, everyone. Since you mentioned, I've been on both sides of the table. I would say, as Mr. Misra also highlighted here, the VC venture capital funding for the startups is going down. Corporates are participating more in the funding, as well as there's a large segment in the startup ecosystem now who are looking at corporates and PSUs as their customers. So a couple of things I will highlight. One is that if you look at a group like us, JSW, which is into metal and mining, into steel, into energy, logistics, etc., etc. Now there's a lot of space for startups to provide technologies to companies like us. So I personally work in the CSR space. So I'll highlight a few things. Like in the CSR space itself, as SDG was also mentioned here, most of the corporates have signed up to the net zero target. So there's a lot of space, for startups to play there. Whether it is helping the corporates achieve this goal, monitor, carbon offsets for them, etc., etc. Second is, we work on a lot of social issues, whether it is drinking water, sanitation, healthcare in remote areas, education or digital education. So, I would say in digital education space, we're working with startups. In healthcare, we're working with startups. In water, we're working with startups. So, being on both sides of the table, what I can see is, there are problems. There is a market here with us, and there are startups who have that product or service with them. So it's a good match. The only thing is, what we expect is, startups to come to us with foolproof products. Because when it is angel investors or VCs, you can take risk, you can take chance. They're willing to do that because they know they are getting into the startup ecosystem with startups where product might not be fully ready for market deployment. But when you're coming to a corporate, you need to have a foolproof product. There's a very less chance of experimenting unless there is a specific thing that we're working with, like the mining challenge that we're working with, where we're willing to do that, but not as a customer. When it is when the PSU or the corporate is a customer, then you cannot take a chance. It has to be a foolproof product. So I would say that looking at Odisha's corporate presence, you look at there's a large amount of our non-tax revenue comes from mining, metal and mining sector. I keep saying this. I think 82% plus percentage of non-tax revenue of Odisha coming from mining sector. So you look at the amount of money that is flowing into the market, the revenue that is being generated, and not only in the core but also in the allied sectors. You look at the downstream, you look at the logistics transport. Nowadays a lot of companies are working on putting their slurry pipelines, whether it is in the iron ore or steel space or aluminum. So there's a lot of space for startups to come into AI technologies for monitoring, to reduce the damage, reduce the repair and maintenance time, etc. So it's a large market. There's a lot of money, a lot of revenue involved. If you only look at Odisha itself, and if you look at India, it's a huge market. And now that Bhubaneswar We have now a lot of MNCs coming into Bhubaneswar of late. There's more space for startups are getting created. So, Lopat, I think we at the right time you are holding this conference, where it's the right time for startups to connect with the corporates, and it's going to be a win-win for both. It's not only corporates or PSUs who are going to benefit. We also need products. We need intelligent products which we don't want to invest in, but we want to buy it. So
absolutely, sir. And here I think accelerators or incubators like STPI can play a major role, at least from the due diligence or conducting such programs like we have done in the mining.
Absolutely. I think that's what, when I say foolproofing, we need somebody to back it, like STPI, saying that this product works. So then it's more comforting for us to issue a purchase order. Otherwise, we can't experiment much.
Yes, especially when accelerators like us, we have industry and the technical partners who vet throughout the program, the startup, what the product is about and all. Definitely corporates also put in a lot, put a lot on the line in collaborating with startups. It can be reputation, investment, and majorly outcome, especially when startups propose business models and technology which are not matured and the organization isn't ready to experiment it with. Thank you so much, sir. And heading a life sciences incubation center, the question for Nivedita madam, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Institute of Life Sciences. Madam, what probable stages should a biotech startup look out for an industry partner, and how such collaboration are favorable for both?
All right, thank you, Lopa, for the question and organizing this. I think from a biotech startup perspective, the collaborations can be in 4 different stages. Very early on at R&D stage, where they can go to expose and find out the gap areas by knowing what industries are already there. Collaborate right initially and have complementary products or services to offer to the industry that are already established. That's one stage. The second would be, pre-validation or clinical stage, where the resources are less for the startups, and corporates have, either the resources in terms of machineries, in terms of funding, so they can collaborate in preclinical stage or pre-validation stage as well. So, corporates are also looking, clinical trials per se is very expensive in biotech field. It is very heavy capital or high capital kind of funds are required for deep tech startups. So that is one stage that corporates can come in as well. And of course, I think from startup perspective, what I would say, attach to corporates as early as you can so that you follow the regulatory guidelines. After you make a very nice product and you realize that this is not passing the regulatory lines, that will be difficult. So as early as you can get associated to corporates and find out how are the routes that you need to pass through to get the clearances, that will be really beneficial. I think this kind of a matchmaking is really necessary to get a better outcome, as very rightly said by Prashantji. You need to have a foolproof product. And how does this foolproof product come? When only corporate and startup have a match early on, so it is getting validated, and then something fruitful and would come. And of course, from corporate perspective, I would say they can expand or diversify their portfolios. They bring, because new startup brings new kind of innovation ideas, so it'll be a great way to diversify.
Yeah,
I think they are mutually benefit.
True, corporates can help, both in building the product right and building the right product.
Yeah, so I think it's mutually beneficial for the ecosystem as well.
Yeah, and in the final stages of cooperation, maybe a pharmaceutical company can offer to acquire the startup. that can also happen.
That's difficult to say, but then yes, we are aiming towards it.
Thank you so much, madam. As news of hiring freezes and budget cuts are becoming increasingly frequent, corporate innovation and CVC leaders find themselves the needing to build a case to justify the continuation of open innovation. My question to Mr. Debashish Panigrai, would you please tell us, since traditional banking products often do not cater to the specific requirements of startups, do VCs tailor-make their financial products to start up the entrepreneurs? And if in that case, how is it done?
Sure. Very good afternoon to all of you, first of all. And more on a personal basis, so happy to see the startup ecosystem starting to thrive out of DISA. So personally, I think that's great, and thanks a lot to all the organizers of sessions like this. I think there's a lot of takeaways I'm sure each one of us are going to take from here. Coming back to your questions, unfortunately that's true, and I'm sure many of these startup founders here would agree with me. While needing funds walking into a traditional banks, the first thing is collateral, the second thing is a history of positive bottom line, and it has taken a long time for them to kind of cater products that suits the startups, right? So that's unfortunately true. And as they say, for every problem there lies a better opportunity. In order for this gap to be sort of catered to, which is why you see last 5 to 10 years, a lot of VC ecosystem has come up. One thing I can tell you for sure, being from the industry itself, there is no dearth of funds, right? And each of these VCs, be it debt, venture debt, be it venture equity, they are more than happy if they see value in your business, value in your products. They are more than happy to customize the whole thing. Let's say, for example, on the venture debt side, with the innovation of new products like say, revenue-based financing, invoice discounting, and many more products, they are more than happy to customize it. On the debt side, if we were to look at some numbers, FY23 itself, I think the target for the VC debt industry is to cross $1 billion in terms of funding. And mind you, these are smaller fundings, right? So the number of fundings that's going to happen or is happening is huge. The other beauty of the venture debt part is if they see value in you, if the relationship has been good for 1 or 2 years in terms of their funding and the repayment happening, they are typically going to fund you again if you need that funds. So there's a churn of capital that happens. Coming to the equity side of it, I think India has seen a flurry of, I think 600 plus venture equity firms, right? And there is no dearth of capital. Factually, it's true that in last 6 to 12 months, the venture equity side of funding has gone a little bit down. That doesn't mean that there is sort of shortage of capital. There are a lot of VC funds lying in there, happy to fund. But the idea from a founder perspective or a startup perspective, I think the thing that we need to be very clear about is what we want in terms of fund, whether debt or equity. If it is debt or equity, which particular structure that we need to go to, and then tap to the right kind of source. I can tell you there's no dearth of funding. I hope that answers.
Absolutely, and I guess somewhere in this ecosystem we need a little more awareness on these instruments, financial instruments, and that should also be taken care of.
I think on that, this whole ecosystem is evolving, right? Goes
Yes.
back 5, 7, 10 years. India didn't have venture capital to start with. All of a sudden, last 5 years, there are so many venture equity guys, so many venture debt guys, corporates funding startups.
Absolutely, there's
So
a
I'm
Himalayan change in the ecosystem.
and in next 2 to 3 years, I think there will be enough awareness.
True. Thank you so much. One who is working towards revolutionizing the back-end infrastructure of financial service institutions. My question to Mr. Srimant Srivastav, the co-founder of Mool Innovation Labs. Since we have all spoken to corporates, I would ask what has been your strategy to work with a corporate?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks Lopaji for giving us this opportunity as one of the incubated startups from STPI Odisha. It's already a pleasure for me to be amongst these luminaries here. So talking about our strategies, I would like to share more of our journey in terms of how we evolved as a startup. Our product is around tax optimization for individuals, more precisely salaried people, and we built a smart set of algorithms which kind of understand the individual and kind of do automated tax planning and financial planning for individuals. Now, when we build a product like any other startup, we were gung-ho ki ye to big jayega and it will be a revolutionary product. But yes, like all startups, we went through our journeys of ups and downs, and it's continuing. So initially, when we started pitching to corporates, we realized...
Shrimanji, I would like you to also address like when exactly a fintech startup should look for a corporate collaboration. We heard the perspective from a biotech startup, a fintech startup.
Right.
What should be the performance indicators of a startup that they should look for a corporate collaboration? Maybe that would be a perfect question.
Sure, I'll add to that. Thanks. So our journey initially when we started like a year and a half ago with our matured product, I would say, because initial 1 year or so we took to kind of fine tune the product and get some early adopters. And once we had paying clients, small and mid corporates, we started pitching to large corporates also. And then we realized that we are running into a wall because obviously large corporates, they have very well defined systems, be it HRMS, ERP and processes. And that is where our product was running into some challenges. So internally we discussed, deliberated, brainstormed, and then we came up this whole thing of building open API products which can be integrated with other digital softwares, HRMS systems, ERP, and we have been to quite an extent successful because as some of the panelists mentioned before me that the product has to be really mature, and what we did is we kind of started building case studies around the maturity of the product. It is working for 6 months, 1 year in other corporates before approaching large corporates, mid corporates, because obviously as Mr. Prashant and Nivedita ji mentioned that the product has to be mature before corporates can take a bet. So it was very important that we built case studies, we built references, and then approached larger corporates. So some of these discussions have been successful. We have been able to break into a couple of large corporates also in terms of getting them on board. I'm sorry, what was the other question?
What are the performance indicators I asked? Like?
Right. So in terms of performance indicators, if you are a matured or a maturing product, you need to show quarter on quarter or month on month growth. Also revenue generation, so typically for SaaS startups, there are this average revenue per customer, then the whole customer acquisition cost should be nominal. Also the ARR, MRR, which is the average recurring revenue, monthly recurring revenue should show a growth. The churn rate should be less. So these are some of the metrics which need to be tracked on an ongoing basis, and these should show either a growth or a stable performance, so as to be able to kind of get a validation, be it from corporates or VCs, so to say.
Thank you. I think that answers it perfectly. Back to Madam. Ma'am, how can PSU and corporate CSR funds be availed or utilized by the startups through accelerators or incubators or for the product development or deployment journey, or like they can avail it directly? Because I guess everyone here wants to know this.
I can speak. Is it okay? Yeah. I can speak about my company. I'm not aware about others. As far as CSR funding is concerned, we are not giving to startups. The funding of R&D and innovation funding can be diverted to startups, and as you know, we have some collaborations and we invite R&D proposals that may include startup subjects. Once in 2 years, we take out expression of interest for inviting proposals. And as I said earlier, under our ministry, we have already announced 2 guidelines, revised guidelines on R&D projects and innovation, and another is PRISM, that is promotion of research and innovation in metals and mining and recycling sector. where startups can participate and funding can be provided to them. I think it answers your question.
Thank you so much, madam. Yes, absolutely it does. I think also corporates are discovering, that accelerators are efficient, mostly to improve the prospects of their portfolio companies and get them well fitted to the corporate, to the industry needs. So yes, thank you so much. Coming to Rajesh Ram sir, how can Odisha or government build a vibrant startup ecosystem leveraging the corporate startup collaboration?
Thank you, Lopa. So, first thing I wanted to repeat the whole thing, that data is king, right? Okay, nowadays, okay, if you have access to the right data, then you can build insights, you can, train your AI models to learn from it so that, you can deploy it. So, access to data is where Odisha government can enable. If you look at in US, they have 300,000 data sets available in various areas, from transportation to healthcare and all that, which is publicly available. Okay. India, I don't know how many you have visited, we have data.gov.in, odisha.data.gov.in. So at India level, I think we have around 4,700, I was looking at data set. Odisha is catching up. I think enabling and opening up that data will help all the startups to apply that, because when you're talking about is going to be the generation of AI and artificial intelligence learning and everything, only when you can train your model, for training model you need curated data sets in large numbers, okay. So that can come from a source which government can enable through their various departments, right, okay. I think that can create a huge change in terms of our startups getting ready to deploy their product for the markets, okay. The other one I wanted to highlight is that because I think there is a little bit of confusion between, we talked about corporate ventures and we talked about corporates buying startup products, okay. These are two different things, right? When a corporate venture, which is the venture arm of a corporate, is looking at startup, that time they're not looking at finished products which are proven and in the market. They're looking like a powerful idea which can align to their overall product roadmap, and they're ready to invest, okay. So I think, but when you as a startup are ready and trying to sell to a corporate for a revenue, that time you have to have a very stable and proven product like what you said, okay. So I think today, most of the large corporations, they have a venture arm which is fairly independent, and I think that is one area. The difference between a corporate venture and institutional venture is helping you to build your organization and make it financially scalable. Whereas corporate venture is more preparing a product that aligns to the corporate's product, whatever they are selling, right? It's good Microsoft or anybody, right? Okay. So to that extent, corporate ventures are not looking for, is it a startup which can become a unicorn? They're looking at like product which will help them scale their existing product line or add a future product line. So I think you are better off aligning with corporate ventures, because in Odisha, I think what I have seen is we have supported a lot of startups. They come to one level, like they have few customers, they're not able to scale to the next level of attracting funds, okay, and that's where, because we work with large corporations, part of the government's buying power, we can invite those corporate ventures to support and operate startups in Odisha. And one other point of advice to all of you is that when you're looking at corporate, look from two angles, right? Is your product helping the customers grow its existing business, or are you helping the customers to create a new line of business, okay? But irrespective of, so based on that, your choice to decide whom you should talk to, but at the same time, better to align, because Lopa wanted to address, horizontal versus vertical alignment. Always align with the vertical, okay, because the business unit leader and their access to customers, which will make you successful. Horizontal looks good, I'm a platform, it will cut across many verticals, I'll sell big. From theoretical point of view, looks good, but from succeeding as a startup, better to align on a vertical front. Okay. I think these are all my suggestions.
Absolutely, sir. But then I always feel like if it is an industry use case based solution, and suppose for some reason the industry fails to get along with the startup, or then do we think that the startup product is doomed, or how is it? Like if it has to be only vertical or a use case based?
No, what I'm saying is, of course, whatever you're doing has to have a use case, right? Without that, you cannot succeed. The point is, a lot of times I have seen that, even in my company and, Wipro and other places, we are more comfortable saying I'm building a platform which will work across, healthcare, transportation. I'm creating a platform. That kind of approach, don't take horizontal approach. Take a vertical use case approach. Okay, there I think you have a higher chance of aligning with corporate and succeeding. Okay, I think the other part, also see at a question of localization versus globalization question, which I want to say that just from my experience, we are building a wearable ECG device, for monitoring remote health of patients. For training that device, we were dependent on data from MIT, okay, because that is a golden standard. Lots of ECG data is available, you pump it through O3C. But the point is, when it worked well for US environment, it didn't work for Indian environment because people sweat here a lot. It is dependent on your body impedance and all that. So localization of your product for that particular area is very critical, and that is where, again, I'm coming back to the same thing. We must have data for the local market, then only we can prove and do it, okay. So.
Right, and the startup will always be at the short end of the bargain if they don't commit fully to what they are doing, be it for the collaboration or the product development. Absolutely. Coming to Subrat Prasthi, sir, what are the, how can startups, encounter the challenges that they face while modifying the products? When you say about the schemes of DOT and all, that's for a time limit, that's a timeline to it. So in case, because right now the technology advancements are so frequently changing, so how do you think modifying or modifications in the product or the prototype can be done in a fixed timeline?
That's a good, complex question actually. What is happening, technology is moving very fast. And one technology is becoming obsolete after some time. And now, as you know, the natural intelligence is competing with artificial intelligence. So, when you see any sector, for example, let's say I am saying of mining. In China, the mining area is totally controlled by 5G robots. Earlier, the people were going inside the mines. Now, people are not going inside the mines. The robots are going inside the mines. Those who are operating the mines, they are sitting in an air-conditioned chamber and controlling the entire thing using 5G technology. The 5G technology has three components. One is high-speed broadband, another is low latency, another is the energy efficient, that is used for IoT, Internet of Things. So considering these three slices, the technology has been used for different sectors. And if you are thinking of, for example, Nalco or Jindal, JSW, if they want to make Industry 4.0 or wants to control their mines with 5G, our startups have the products. And those products can be used in the corporate environment. And as you know, Reliance Jio has already a standalone 5G network. There are two types of 5G network. One is standalone 5G network and is a non-standalone 5G network. In a standalone 5G network, all these three types of things can be tested and can be done. So, the startups and the Nalco and the company and the telecom operator all can come together and do this development, mining development in Odisha. I request that let us do a 5G use case pilot starting from Nalco or JSW with our startups who are eager to do this. And you see, everything has two sides. It can be succeed, it can be failure. But now the situation is whether we have attempted it or not. If we are attempting, then that is a success. That is what I want to tell you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Coming to Mr. Prashant Vishwal, sir. So what are the critical entry barriers for startups to start up corporate relationships, and how can one overcome these challenges?
I think, one of the major entry barrier is to the understanding, understanding that particular corporate that you are approaching, So mostly the startups that I have seen while I was working with startups, they either building a B2B or B2C product, not keeping the corporates in mind as a customer or a prospective, customer. I think investor now it's emerging, but so if you have not built something for the corporate market, then you need to first develop understanding, customize your product, tweak it to fit into the corporate market, and then go and approach them. Don't go and approach with something which is built for somebody else, and the corporate may not straight away understand it, whether it is fitting or not. So I see that a lot of startups come and say that I have built it for something else, but you tell me how you want, I will customize it. That's a wrong way to approach. According to me, that's a wrong way to approach. So first develop understanding about that particular corporate or that sector at least. Let's say you're talking about the mining sector or the steel or sector or telecom. Number two is don't say that you can solve everything. A lot of startups do feel that they can solve everything. So I think somebody mentioned about Mr. Mishra mentioned about going vertical rather than horizontal. So you need to be very specific that what are you solving for them. Whether you're solving a problem that exists in their business, whether you are helping them scale up, or whether you are helping them streamline something. For example, JSW as a group adopted Darwin box, way before they become a unicorn. So corporates are willing to be early adopters, but then you have to understand what they need, right? So those are barriers. Cost is not a barrier if you have the right product. So I would say cost is absolutely not the barrier. But understanding the need is definitely the key, and then presenting your product in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless there's a product that completely satisfies or is a solution to the challenges faced by the corporate, it will always be a tug of war.
Absolutely, and it takes time. See, as I said, industry is not the same. The metal mining industry is very different than the IT industry. Your response from the corporates may vary from industry to industry as well. So there are certain traditional industries who take their own time to whether they want to go with you or not as a product user. It took us some time to really to really convince our company to go with one of the startups here. I don't know if it's there, Inauguration, who makes these products for the mining industry. But once you are in and you prove, then you have a huge market. They're now getting a very very significant amount of their revenue comes from companies like us. So you have to have patience, understand the corporate's need, and don't hesitate working on it again and coming back to them.
Yes, going back and forth, it will be a time delay, both which can be challenging for both the corporates and the startups.
Absolutely,
in navigating.
absolutely.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Over to Nivedita ma'am. For biotech startups, the gestation period is usually high, like I see for the electronic startups. So how do corporates access the risk factors involved, and how the startup should overcome these challenges? Please share your insights on this.
Yeah, very true. I think all deep tech startups have longer gestation periods. I think corporates can do their strategic due diligence, and all of these products have stages. The initial R&D phase, then you have pre-validation stage, then validation stage, and then commercialization stage. I think from corporate perspectives, hiring right kind of scientific experts, regulatory experts, and then knowing to know where they are venturing in, and they can always fund incrementally, stage wise, so that they are aligned with the startups, and they grow together. I think that would be my take from corporate perspectives. And from startup perspective, there's something called technology readiness level. I think all of the startup who's beginning their entrepreneurial journey needs to first understand how their technology needs to take a path to productization. And how many stages, what is the quantum required? They estimate quantum required.
That milestone mapping needs to be done
Absolutely.
at
the very initial stage. Otherwise, they end up getting frustrated, leaving that, and all of that. I think if they have a strategic approach to align that up, and then there are grants for very deep tech, there are grants, venture capitalists, and angel investors, and of course there are different other schemes that government is also, helping them out. I think that kind of learning is very important before they even venture. And I think, to me, this is very important from corporate perspective as well as from startups. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Mr. Debashish Panikrai. Often the startups are in a dilemma in estimating their valuation, startup valuation precisely, while raising their funds. So how should they access their valuation, taking the market demand or technology into account? Instead of going to a certified value or something, how should they start assessing their valuation and work accordingly towards it?
Sure, I guess this is pretty interesting. So I would start by saying or borrowing the famous tagline which says valuation is an art, not science, right? We can run as many Excel sheets over as many period of time to figure out a number. But to me and in my experience, I think my valuation is this particular number at which some third party is willing to write a check, right? That's the only thing that's relevant for me. Point number two, effectively in terms of achieving, going by this, there's nothing called precisely correct valuation, right? I think what can be attempted is to arrive at an optimum valuation. And you arrive at an optimum valuations only when you run a very tight and very clear process with all thoughts aligned to what you are actually looking for. So to be very specific, I would lay out maybe four pointers, which I think maybe each one of you can use. Number one, I think more often than not as founders, I have seen going and doing a carpet bombing, right? And going and meeting some 50 VCs and getting confused as to where to go and what's my real valuation is, right? For that, if you actually do a little bit of homework and go through a host of VCs, each of the VC fund has its own mandates, which sector to support, what ticket size, what structure, everything is available on internet, right? So do some exercise and first figure out which are the 10, 15, 20 names that you want to approach, wherein the whole discussion remains very focused, right? So point number one, avoid a carpet bombing, select your names and then approach. Point number two, I would say for VC funding, valuation after some point in time becomes irrelevant. If you see the approach with which most of these VC investors comes in and all the discussions finally ends up a particular stake being negotiated rather than it's being a function of the valuation itself. So be clear in your mind that at the stage of the startup that is there, what particular stake that you are willing to let go for the business to run or for the business to grow. So that's point number two. Point number three, always when you are raising equity, always make sure that that's a convertible structure. It's not a direct equity. What you achieve by doing that is effectively at least postponing the dilution that's going to sort of hit you, right? Point number four, and I think I would say that's the most critical, is as founders, make sure that you have a runway for at least 18 to 24 months in mind. Again, this is a very common mistake startups do, that you raise funds when you are in desperate need, right? And especially when there is desperation in your face, the guy sitting on the other side is going to get the upper hand and bargain hard, right? So as founders, as much critical it is for you to run the business and make it grow, it is as critical for you to make sure that the business has a cash runway for at least 18 to 24 months and avoid being in the market trying to raise funds as often as possible, because that's something that never adds to your valuation going forward, right? So this I mean, if you take care of these 4 cardinal principles, I think achieving the optimum valuation is doable. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think valuation also follows value creation. So, so once you create that value, valuation will automatically.
So that's where I have a little bit of a different take when it comes to venture capital funds, as in the financial fraternity doing venture investing versus the corporate doing the venture investing, right? Because if for me as a startup founder to get corporate venture funding, if the product has to be already foolproof, then you are no longer funding an idea, right? You are funding the growth of that particular startup, right? And what the financial investors do is they basically fund an idea, and which is where their expectations is to get a 5x, 10x, 15x return on that, right? So that need to be a little bit aligned is what I believe, but I think we are evolving.
Thank you. Coming to the last question to Mr. Simant, what unique value propositions entrepreneurs must develop and employ to stand out from the crowd and secure the right market share? We need to wrap up, so I request you to be a little short. And
Yeah, sure. So, see, I would talk more from personal experience being a startup founder myself. Typically what we have done is, first is we went ahead and identified a very specific unique problem faced by our targeted customers. So advice to all startup founders is identify a unique problem which is not kind of being solved by too many people in the market today. Second is, even if you are kind of having some kind of overlap in terms of the segment you are targeting, then you should be able to differentiate yourselves from the competitors. What is your USP or unique value proposition? Third is, you should quantify the value you are bringing to the table. So typically any collaboration, be it startup, corporate, or any client collaboration, involves if I am investing so much, what is the return on investment I am getting? So that ROI should be quantified, I mean to say. And finally, how effectively you are able to communicate this whole value proposition which you are bringing. The messaging should be loud and clear, to the point, and crisp. That's a very short and sweet answer I can give.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Just the key takeaways of the panel discussion. So for the startups, it is know your customer well, because relationships real matter, and find your use case. That matters because sometimes you can pivot, but technology has to meet the needs of the corporates. Know your stakeholder and also understand their fiscal and budgetary cycle. So that will give you a chance to work with the corporates closer, and be always prepared for an opportunity, and you should be knowing how to win that too. For the corporates, when it comes to agility, startups have an edge over large corporations. Though large corporations sit on resources which startups can hardly dream of, the combination of an entrepreneurial activity with corporate ability can be an absolute match. But it's also very difficult to achieve. To sum it up, I'll just quote Chris Anderson, who said that in the 19th century, you won in business because your company was bigger or your plant was more productive. In the 20th century, you won in business because you had a better product. But in the 21st century, you win in business because your ecosystem is larger and faster than the others. So, yeah, so congratulations to everyone who's present here. And thank you so much for sparing your time today, esteemed panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lopa. I think this is a very, very enriched panel, diverse and enriched, and I think we were able to bring out at least some key aspects of the whole startup corporate collaboration and working together. Wish we had more time, and I think each one of them can take that much time individually. I think we will have future opportunities to do that. Thank you very much, Lopa. I would now request the moderator, Lopa, to please present mementos to our esteemed panelists. Request the folks to kindly help with that. Lopa ji, we will start from that end. Dr. Nivedita Jaina first. Thank you very much, ma'am. Prasanta Biswal ji. Thank you, Prasanta. We have Mr. Rajesh Ram Mishra ji. Thank you so much, sir. Ms. Benita Patra, thank you, ma'am. We have Mr. Debasis Panigrahi here. Thank you, Debasis. Mr. Subrat Kumar Prusti. Thank you, Mr. Prusti. And last but not the least, Simant Srivastav. Simant, thank you for bringing in the startup perspective. I would like to invite Nihar Mohanty, Assistant Director, STPI, to please present a memento to Ms. Lopa Mishra. Thank you very much, Lopa ji, and the panelists and folks. We need to break now for lunch. But post lunch, we have another fabulous panel which will be talking about funding for startups. Followed by that, we have the fabulous startup pitches. I think we are all looking forward to that. We will be back at 2 o'clock, please. Yes, we will have to cut short the lunch a little bit, but looking forward to see you all after lunch. Thank you.
Been a startup then, I think so, but we moved on to media and hospitality and a lot of other things. So it's a great experience being part of TIE Bhubaneswar and connecting with investors and startups. So this afternoon we'll be discussing about insights in the investment and funding landscape. So that is a very, very big area, and thankfully we got some very, very eminent speakers here from different spaces and fields and domains in the entrepreneurial landscape, and we are fortunate to have Madam Vandana Srivastav, Director STPI Guwahati. A big hand for her. And of course Mr. Manish Srivastav, Founding Partner and Director Alpha Value Consulting. We are awaiting Mr. Debu Patnaik, who is the former President of TIE Bhubaneswar and presently the co-founder of Bhubaneswar Angels TIE. And of course, on my left is, and we are just discussing, it's a small world. We have been, friends since days from Cuttack and school. AK Mahanti, and only when I read his resume, I just realized how big a guy he is. And of course, we'll be hopefully having Nishita. Okay, Nishita is here. Please come up on stage. Nishita, again, I've been seeing her for, I think, when she was in school, but she's come such a long way and such an inspiration for all young people. So as and when we have Mr. Debu Bhai, we'll of course introduce him. I would start off with a brief introduction of Satyakam, and then he'll take it up. And of course, he would have more to say about himself and his journey. But this is what has been given to me, and it's very interesting and quite elaborate. Satyakam Mahanti is the founder and managing director, WYSER Z20. Wiser, okay, it's Wiser. Oh, sorry. That's how we go. Satyakam is founder and managing partner at Wiser, an idea stage fund backed by the Hatchery program. The fund is focused on accelerating entrepreneurial success of tech AI startups from idea to PMF stage or the startup journey. And you tell me what PMF is, okay? So I am here as a moderator, but I want to learn also. He has been a successful entrepreneur and corporate leader with more than 22 years of business experience in global companies as General Electric, Genpact, and LTI Mindtree. In 2012, Satyakam successfully founded Limbic, one of India's first AI product companies. The name itself sounds interesting. He has been an active angel investor in more than 15 startups and an advisor and mentor to several of them. He is the co-author of Wiley Innovation Black Book Enterprise 4.0 and has sat on the academic advisory board of 2 leading universities in India. So that's Satyakam Mahanti for you. A big hand for our panelist here. So Satyakam, we would start off with you, and you had such an experience in a short while. So you've been an entrepreneur, you have been a startup founder, you have been an investor. So coming back to Odisha, your home state, how does it feel, and what would you tell at the outset to this amazing, eclectic, we welcome Shri Debu Patnaik to the panel. What would you advise to start off about how to go about, not only for startups, for people who are already into the business of entrepreneurship for the last few years, they want to scale up. So let's start off with the startups first.
Thank you. That was a very generous introduction, and good to see you again. So there's 2 things I think I'll touch upon. The first is a little bit on the philosophy of funding itself, right? And before I get into that, I'm going to not wear the investor hat here. I'm going to wear the operator, the entrepreneur hat here, which is where I come from principally. And I will tell you, one of the things that in recent years we've seen a lot of is, for the lack of a better word, a craze for funding. It's like you haven't made it as a startup unless you have, somebody's cut you a check, right? It seems to be front and center. Almost as important, in some cases more important than building your business. So I want to start with that part, right? Because building a business is a 20-year-old journey. No investor is going to last with you that long. So the investor cannot be, the center, the person front and center for you. It has to be your customer, who you're building for, what you're building. Now, if I were to bring it back to what that means in funding terms, there are many ways to go about it. You can bootstrap it. You can, there's no better way to build a business than through your own revenue, right? Now, having said that, all businesses or most businesses need capital in some form or another. So then you got to look at saying, how do you want to take it? Who do you want to take it from? It's very important. There are many players in the ecosystem, right? I will touch upon the idea stage, the earliest stage, idea, pre-seed, seed stage, right? Which is where I suspect most of us are in this room. And if you look at that stage, your options are you can go to angels, you can go to angel networks, you can go to VCs, and there's a ton of government grants actually, right? That we've been hearing a lot.
Check, yeah.
Yeah, so, what is the path you take is a factor of the kind of business you're building, the space you're building in, the trajectory you need for that business to succeed, right? Like D2C businesses and enterprise businesses have fundamentally different trajectories. They have a different way to go to market, right? A different way to scale. So, long story short, because I'll hog the entire panel discussion otherwise, be clear about what you want in terms of funding, who you want it from, not just for the sake of having a check cut for you, right? That's one. The second thing is that I want to tell you is where the world is at today. Today, India sits, and Indian investors, institutional investors and VCs, sit on a bigger, they haven't sat on a bigger pile of cash than before today, right? And we've been hearing terms like funding winter and all of that, right? Some of it is real. Deals have slowed down. So today, I think the deals this year is probably a third of what they were at their peak, right? So there is definitely a drop. But the interesting thing, if you get into the numbers, the individual checks are more than 2x, which means what is happening is that it's not that money is dried up. Money is there, but investors are becoming more discerning. They're looking for founders who are bringing true value. And they're willing to cut them a 2x larger check for it. Right? So, and I'll tie this back to my first point, that think about the kind of business you're building, the way you want to build it, right? And your funding journey will follow from that.
Thank you, Satyakam. We'll come back to you again. But just on a lighter note, do you think funding winter is the right phrase for a place like Odisha where we look forward to the winter here?
So, so we are excellently placed here. And why I say that is, when you have an evolved ecosystem, there's already a lot of money flowing in, so anytime you hit a drop, then you hear these terms. Here we are just starting up. The world is our oyster. So you're right. The term is probably not applicable from that sense. But in the larger perspective, because once you get off your pre-seed and your early stage, you will compete in the global funding pond. So then it's important for you to put that perspective.
And thank you. We'll talk about navigating the landscape here in investment and funding. Of course, we have Mr. Devashish Patnaik, who has been an entrepreneur for quite a bit of time, and he has been a pioneer in many spaces, especially in hospitality. And I don't know how many of you know about it. If you are from Odisha, of course, you've heard of the brand Dalma, which is a chain of restaurants, and that has taken Odia cuisine to a global level. And people from outside who have come here, if you have the time, do visit the place. Debu Patnaik is the founder of this chain of restaurants, other than a lot of other hospitality spaces. He has been a charter member of TIE Bhubaneswar, president of TIE Bhubaneswar, and of course, now he's moving ahead the TIE Bhubaneswar Angels, and has, of course, incubated and invested in a lot of startups before people started investing in startups in Odisha quite a few years back. So I would ask Mr. Devashish Patnaik the challenges which he has faced as an investor and as an entrepreneur in getting and giving funding, and what would you think you would look for as an investor in startups, especially in Odisha?
Good evening. Thank you, Sanu, for a generous introduction. But coming back to startup, honestly speaking, I probably 2010, 11, I even don't know what is a startup. The concept, the word, I really didn't know. It was a chance meeting in Silicon Valley, way back in 2010 probably. We were part of I come from a hospitality industry, mostly hotels, restaurants and all these things, so I don't understand much of tech. But I was part of this government delegation where one fine morning they said that you come and meet the Indian diaspora who wants to talk to you about TIE. So then we had a discussion, and then they offered us to initiate the TIE chapter in Bhubaneswar. And that's how our journey into the startup ecosystem started. My journey started. And 2012, 2013, there were 2-3 boys, young boys from KIT. They said that we are doing something, we want funding, and you become this seed investor. I didn't know what a seed investor is those days, but the boys looked quite innocent. So me and one of my friends, we thought that we will invest in this enterprise. We did that. The company went on to become one of the leading startups in the country in the name of FAR-I. And then probably cutting the story short, I got involved in startup ecosystem in Odisha and started investing in other startups also. See, coming back to your question, it's really difficult for a person like me who doesn't know almost all the startups and their products. I am not saying about myself basically because I have been in this track for so many years and I know most of them now in Odisha. But for a common man and who really wants to invest, I was told in the morning session that the success rate is roughly around 10% of all startups. But the general investor in a state like Odisha is probably looking, kitna interest milega mujhe? How much that I am going to get every month? Are you paying me the interest? And which year are you going to return me the money? But in an investment, in a startup investment, as has been said in the morning, 90% goes dead. So you have to wait for that 10% to succeed. So you have to invest in 10 different startups for one to succeed. And you should know that 9 are going to close and or probably vanish, which has happened to me also. Couple of them have vanished. So understanding the requirement and the young boys that they come to you, they are talking in millions. But basic requirement is probably thousands. So you have not only have to decide how big would be your ticket size and what would be the installments like. What would be the time frame that you would be investing in? I am after the tie, we have decided to start this Bhubaneswar Angels, where we are trying to activate the HNIs across the state, trying to bring them on board as investors so we have probably around 2,000, correct me wrong, 1,800 or 1,600, 1,800 startups now in the state, which requires funding at some stage or other. So we are trying to activate the HNIs from different parts of the state to come forward. Don't look for your interest, look for a long-term investment.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patnaik. We welcome Mr. Anadapadi, Secretary of TIE Bhubaneswar, and he's a potential investor. I'll warn him.
He's not a potential investor. He is a full-time investor. He has invested in 4-5 companies already.
A potential investor for the audience here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move on to Mr. Manish Srivastav. He's the founding partner and director, Alpha Value Consulting. He's a seasoned professional and served clients nationally and internationally. He's a charter member of TIE. Alpha Value Consulting Private Limited is a transaction and fund advisory company with 15 years of experience in valuation and transaction advisory domain. He's also acting as a mentor to the Atal Incubation Cell. Welcome, sir. And I think he's the go-to man. After this session, we should all meet him because he would be having the right technical knowledge for how to go about your navigating your investment landscape as an investor or as a startup. So your views, and if anything, how do you look at Odisha as a startup space?
Yeah, thank you, Sanuji, for the introduction. It is not only about, I would say, Odisha. It's overall, if you talk about India, India is so deep and so varied, and different geographies have different potentials. If you talk about Odisha, so much of the mining over here, so much of the fishery over here, so many of the things which are not available on different parts of the India, right? So every nooks and corner of India, there is a potential now. So now there being the time when people say, investors कहाँ मिलते हैं, investors को ढूंढें कहाँ जाके. तो investors, everybody used to travel to metropolitan cities, कि दिल्ली, मुंबई, वहाँ पे जाके मिलेंगे investors. Now the situation is reverse. Now the investors are going to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And that is how the dynamics has changed. So the entire ecosystem has evolved. And now if you go to the deeper of India, you will find a lot of the innovative ideas that being there. And the investors are looking at to handhold, enter at the right time, be the part of that journey where they can create certain value proposition. Okay? So I being into the valuation domain from the last 18 years, and so somebody may say and ask, startup की valuation कैसे होती है? How you evaluate a startup? Very difficult to go. There is no one-cut solution to the question. I would say that this is the simplified version, and you say that this is the value of the company. It is more about the perspective of the investor. For different investor, the value may be different. Everybody thinks that a startup has one single value, but it is more about like who may be the right investor for you. It is not only like for the investor who may be the right founder, but for the founder who may be the right investor as well. It is not only about the money that he is bringing, but the value chain he is building, but the type of the connection and the network that he is creating and building upon, that will create more value chain in the time to come, right? So always try to look at like what is the value that I will be getting beside the funding side, okay? This is all. And another perspective, like it is also dependent upon at which stage you are. And where the economy is, what is the cycle is. Like suppose take example, I started a business in the year 2002, and the name of the business was chandnichowkbazaar.com. Chandni Chowk is there in Delhi. And we thought about like we will make the entire Chandni Chowk go digital, right? It being a very passionate idea and it being very dear to us. We talked to the investors at that point of time. But what was missing in that? Two things that being missing. One is we are before time. Nowadays, people used to have the mobile and everything. Smartphones are there and you can look at. But at that point of time, 2002, there was no smartphone. So you have done something which was before time, right? Another important aspect is like there is a problem of scalability. Once you frame the name Chandni Chowk Bazaar, you cannot go outside of Chandni Chowk Bazaar, right? So there is a scalability issues. So from that time, when from the entrepreneur side, then to the consulting, and now as an investor, so a lot of the stages that being traveled. But one thing, one critical factor I would say, sir, जितनी भी बार आपको लोग no बोलें, आप किसी की बात को मानो मत, क्योंकि हर आदमी का पर्सपेक्टिव अलग है. आप जो चीज़ सोच रहे हो वो इन्वेस्टर कभी नहीं सोच पाएगा. जब आप हिट होंगे तो इन्वेस्टर कहेगा यार मिस कर दिया, इसमें इन्वेस्ट कर दिए होते तो इतना $1 बिलियन पैसा बन गया होता. तो डोंट गो विद द थिंकिंग कि आप समझो कि आपको गट फीलिंग, देखो मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट, देखो देयर इज़ नो आर्ट नो साइंस. आपके अंदर गट फीलिंग है कि नहीं, हम कर देंगे. अगर वो गट फीलिंग है, इफ़ यू हैव, यू विल श्योरली सक्सीड. एक चीज़ और देखो, लाइफ में क्या है, डे 1 पे कभी भी बिजनेस मॉडल करेक्ट नहीं बनता है. यू नीड टू पिवट इट. आपको 1 बार 2 बार 5 बार 10 बार आइटरेशन करना पड़ेगा. वो इवॉल्व होगा टाइम के साथ. डे 1 पे आप सोचो मैं एकदम परफेक्ट बना दूंगा, इन्वेस्टर को बताऊंगा और इन्वेस्टर पैसा डाल देगा, इट विल नेवर गो दैट वे, राइट? तो आप समझो, साइकी को समझो, किस तरह से हमें करना है. इन्वेस्टर और आपके बीच का जो गैप है, उस गैप को ब्रिज करने की कोशिश करो कि उसके माइंड में क्या चलता है, वो क्या देखना चाहता है. दैट इज़ अनदर इम्पॉर्टेंट इज़, बहुत सारे लोग नंबर्स पे बिलीव करते हैं कि यार नंबर्स या ट्रैक्शन क्रिएट कर देते हैं. ट्रैक्शन क्रिएट कर देंगे तो हमें वैल्यूएशन मिल जाएगी और वैल्यूएशन मिलने से हमें फंडिंग मिल जाएगी. ट्रैक्शन इज़ नॉट ओनली द थिंग. आपको अपने थीम के ऊपर वर्क करना चाहिए. वी नीड टू वर्क ऑन योर प्रोडक्ट. अगर मेरा प्रोडक्ट अच्छा होगा, इफ़ आई हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्ग प्रोडक्ट, इट विल सेल, नॉट इमीडिएटली नहीं सेल हो सकता है, बट मे बी इन लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यू विल क्रिएट एन एंटरप्राइज. ओके, अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट अच्छा नहीं है तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? डिस्काउंट देना पड़ेगा, आपको ज़बरदस्ती जो है मार्केटिंग करनी पड़ेगी, और उससे क्या होगा? बर्नआउट होगा, और बर्नआउट होने से क्या होगा? लॉसेस बिल्ट होंगे. लॉसेस बिल्ट होंगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली जो है वो आप एक ऐसे एरिना में पहुंच जाओगे जहाँ पे लगेगा बॉस अब क्या करें. तो सुनने में बड़ा अच्छा लगता है, 108 यूनिकॉर्न है इंडिया में. क्या सारे के सारे यूनिकॉर्न फंडामेंटली करेक्ट हैं? यूनिकॉर्न एक टैग है, वैल्यूएशन टैग है. हो सकता हो 108 में 50 यूनिकॉर्न फंडामेंटली कभी भी प्रॉफिटेबल नहीं हो पाए. दैट मे बी अगेन बीइंग अ क्वेश्चन मार्क, right? So these are all the dynamics that being there. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manish Srivastav. Of course, we'll open the house for a Q&A because that's very, very important. But these are very, very valid points, and we touch on fundamentals, so that's very, very important here. We have Madam Vandana Srivastav, and she's the director of the STPI Guwahati, and she's from the eastern part of the country. And when we're talking about 2-tier, 3-tier cities of India, I think startups have given a hope to the whole of emerging India, that like we have Bollywood. When we think of Bollywood, we only think of Mumbai, maybe entrepreneurship, IT, we always think of Bangalore. I think the startup ecosystem is going to change that because of remote working. I mean, you can have an investor from any other place. You can have an entrepreneur from a remote area, could be a village. So, looking at the insights of a place like Orissa, these are emerging like Assam and maybe the Northeast. Do you think it's a challenge or it's more of an opportunity when people from here may come up with more ideas, like Mr. Manoj Mishra told in our welcome inaugural event, that it's actually when we understand the local ecosystem, we can come back with ideas which are actually more relevant than somebody sitting somewhere in a metro or the top tier cities and thinking about what can happen in Bhubaneswar. So do you think it's an opportunity, or we still have challenges in starting up in places like this?
Hello. Thank you very much for the question, and thank you very much for inviting me in this panel discussion. Very relevant question you have asked. We from STPI, we are an enabler. So basically, we are not investor, not a startup, but we are enabling, we are trying to, catalyze the entire startup ecosystem. And as we all know that since past 4 years, we have, the startup ecosystem has grown exponentially, not only in terms of growing startups, number of startups, but also angel investors, VC companies, and then government policies, initiatives. All those things have resulted in, exponential growth of the entire ecosystem. STPI is doing a lot of efforts in this. Since past 5 years, we have done lot of we have taken a lot of initiatives, and we are moving in an organized manner. We have created center of excellences, 22 center of excellences at present in various parts of the countries, including the remotest part of Arunachal Pradesh. Itanagar, you'll find a world-class laboratory. Gangtok, you'll find a lab wherein you'll find facilities like IoT controlled agriculture. There is a poly house we have made, displayed, and we are also displaying how this climate, water, humidity control can be done from the system downstairs in office. So all these things we have done. And not only that, we are trying to bridge the gap between the startups and the mentors. We have brought a lot of mentors on board with us. So we are doing successfully mentorship programs wherein we are finding a lot of interest from the startup side as well as from the mentor side. And not only that, see, we are largely focusing now on tier 2 and tier 3 cities. In Northeast, if I give you an example, we have launched our Octane program, which is providing 8 center of entrepreneurships in 8 capital cities of Northeast states, all 8 Northeastern states. So in each of these center of entrepreneurships, we have developed plug and play incubation spaces, and then we have onboard mentors with us. We are also running challenge programs to select right startups, and we are also trying, we would be doing in future a lot of networking events wherein we will bring investors also on board with us along with the startups. So because we, as you said, we are seeing this as an opportunity, as a big opportunity for smaller cities to grow, because a lot of good ideas we are witnessing from Assam, even from the university students, college students, they are bringing new ideas. And one unique thing about our program is that we are considering startups, even those who are at the stage of ideation. So when we are getting some good ideas, we are during the pitching sessions, if we have some good idea from a very young, say, graduating engineering student, we are selecting them. And we are investing on them, we are providing funding supports to them. So all these things are creating a lot of good results, and we are finding many applications from Northeast side. Many, even enthusiastic groups are coming to us and discussing about our facilities and seeing these facilities. So in that way, I think that this is very important for us to move on to tier 2, tier 3 cities. And a lot of not only STPI, but I'm finding that educational institutions, IITs, etc., they are also doing a lot of such initiatives. Even in Guwahati, I'm finding that many initiatives are taking place with respect to startup ecosystem. So, yes, I think this is a great opportunity.
Thank you, madam. A place like Odisha, we have been part of the entrepreneurial journey for so many years. We are looking for high network individuals, that why would they not invest in startups amongst the other opportunities they have to invest their money. But I have seen a huge trend in Bhubaneswar that people keep on buying jewelry, gold, diamonds, and there's a huge space in the jewelry space. At one point of time, I thought I could start something called Prelude Jewelry, where we started an event company, and all around the our office space, we have jewelry shops now. So how do we manage to get these people with a lot of money to invest and to consume to get into startups? That's again a question mark for spaces like Odisha, where they are usually into the same things, investing in land, investing in real estate, and of course in things which they think have long-term value. So I think investing in entrepreneurs and startups could be a good way of moving along, and only the startups and the ecosystem which we are creating have to show them that there is value, there is risk of course, but there is value in it. We have on my left, extreme left, Nishita Baliar Singh, Director, Felicitation Ventures and Company, founder. She's the founder and CEO, Nexus Power. Nishita is a dynamic leader and a sustainability enthusiast. The brand Nexus manufactures rechargeable bio, organic and biodegradable batteries for electric vehicles. These eco-friendly batteries are lithium ion free and utilize crop residue as the raw material. So that's so interesting. Nishita completed her bachelor's in business management with marketing majors from Xavier School of Commerce, Bhubaneswar. Besides her entrepreneurial interests, Nishita is an amateur photographer and an adventure freak. She also takes keen interest in art, sketching, sports, music, and horse riding. She strives to build a greener planet. How eco-friendly is horse riding? Okay, that's the first question. Then we can move around your journey as an entrepreneur and trying to get investors for your amazing ventures. Is it working?
Check.
I think it's working. Just got.
Thank you so much for the question. And so, I mean, I think you're somebody who's seeing me from school. So hearing such beautiful words from him really feels amazing today. As an entrepreneur, the journey, it's been a short journey, to be honest. It's been about 4.5 years, almost about 5. And in this journey, we've seen a roller coaster ride, specifically from the domain we come from. So it's a very research and development oriented space that we belong to. So it's very different from D2C brands or B2C or even in fact B2B companies. A lot of businesses that we see today are typically around sales, and then that's how the channel flows. But as a company where we stand, it's a company where you would spend almost 5-6 years maybe in pure cash burn and no really clear hope of revenues. And so it's a space where you get up every morning with the hope that you will have some research in hand, something which will take you closer to the bigger goal, which is a biodegradable battery for us, but maybe many other goals for people purely in the R&D space. So our growth primarily starts from self being bootstrapped. One of the very important aspects for us, because it's very early to have an idea and to reach out to an investor with just an idea, because there is no product, there are no test logs, there is no trials, nothing. So it's just typically on the paper. So reaching out at that stage, very difficult. In fact, no conviction as well. So the first step for us was to go bootstrap, and a lot of family members came handy at that point. And from there, we had to look at investments, because it's difficult to sustain an R&D industry. Because there's no hope of revenues coming in, and there's no cycling happening there. It has to be pure cash burn. So the next step for us was to try and reach out to all of these government entities who would very recently announce their grant programs back then, 5 years ago when I'm talking about. So a lot of departments of the Government of India, even Government of Odisha, had launched a lot of grant programs, which from the DST, MITI, also with the Department of Biotechnology. So multiple different grants, and that was the second way to keep sustaining. And over the years, that's what helped us build our product, have the conviction, do the tests and trials. And post that is when we raised our equity investment rounds to be able to build further, and then to have the traction enough to then do large-scale trials and piloting of the batteries. So that's the journey that has been. I think a couple of things that I have picked up purely from the funding aspect throughout our journey is it's important to sustain the business. And the idea around funding is supposed to be more about the business than the money itself. So it's not about just being able to have an investor on board. It is primarily more about the way you can keep your business running, whether it is your own funds, where you have the faith enough that you can keep growing and eventually that will reap benefits, or it is about the Government of India grants, Government of Odisha grants, different state government grants, private grants under CSR. So we also were fortunate to have a HDFC Bank CSR initiative private grant. We primarily fell into the climate action category, and that gave us the CSR benefit. So I think it's more important to explore different avenues, try and understand which ways the business can keep running, which ways the cash flow can keep happening if you're a pure R&D company, or if you're a company in the space where you're purely into cash burns until you see some revenue next 4-5 years later. So it's more important to understand how the business can sustain and with minimum loss of equity. I would believe, because it's a long race. When you look at R&D, it's a long race not only for the founders, it's for the investors, also for the entire team, because everybody waking up in the morning, coming into work on a product which will reap benefits 3 years later, the idea has to be very clear, the vision has to be very clear, and it's not something that will give you a lot of happiness every day, day in and day out, where we've seen so many companies close 10 crore deals in a day and so on and so forth, but that's not something likely to happen with an R&D company. So I think the vision has to be very clear, but in terms of funding primarily, I think it's very important that we understand how it can sustain. It's more important to make sure that the funds keep flowing, whichever way, whichever amount. That builds more conviction, in fact, and at the same time allows you to be in the space where you're not worrying about cash flows and you're not worrying about shutting down a company. So it's not only about the equity investments, there are multiple more avenues, and it's more about sustaining the business and keeping it going.
So you're also literally in the business of sustainability and environment. So when you approach a investor or somebody you're pitching to, do you look at the emotional part of it, somebody trying to do good to society, or you're also pitching in with some value which you're giving for the money or the funds that the person is putting in?
That's a very good question, actually. And that also brings me to a point that every investor has a different perspective. And so it's important that from the entrepreneur side, we do a lot of background homework before we reach out to an investor. So for a few investors, I think sustainability stands as a premium. But for a lot of investors, that does not stand as a premium. The product features would overpower the benefit of sustainability. So as our product, we look at the benefit that we could give to an investor that we want to reach out to, which is both the sustainability as well as the benefits and the features that our product brings in with the sustainability aspect to it.
Thank you so much. Before we move on to the audience and delegates here, I would one question to Satyakam, since he has this amazing array of experiences as a person in corporate, as a startup founder and an investor. We have so many avenues of investment nowadays with angel investment, family and friends investing. Also, that's part of an angel investment, private equity, institutional lenders. Somebody starting off with an idea, where would you advise? How does that person or the venture start off with?
So I'm going to start off with what Nishita said, right? So you have to know when you want the money, right? You can't chase the money and then build the idea. You got to be very clear what you're building, how do you go about building it, and that tells you what mix you should go with, right? If you look at deep tech, anything with a long return cycle, right? Any IP development, any product platform-centric business needs a slightly longer runway, right? Now, how do you go about it? So you start with yourself. If it does not involve hardware, in your case it would have involved hardware, then you could start with, and if you have the skills yourself, so imagine if you're building in SaaS, right? Build it yourself. Take it to a certain point, take it to a prototype stage. Then, you have the choice of either doing a friends and family round, or, going to angels, right? Go to a VC, and again, I'll take a point that Ishita said, which is always think about your cap table, right? Which is your equity structure. Because the earlier you go to institutional investors, the more dilution you'll end up doing, right? So you want to get them into the picture later. And that goes back to, again, the journey you want to take. You may build a business that is a lifestyle business. What does that mean? It means that you will run the business at your own pace. Nothing wrong with it. But that's not a business that will attract an institutional investor, neither should you chase one. But if you want to scale to a different level, if you have global ambitions, which means that the time you take, so the flip side of the argument is also that just because you want to hold your cap table together and you want to stretch your rupee or dollar, you will not take investment can also be a problem for you. Because every product, every idea has a shelf life. Just because it's in your head right now doesn't mean 10 other people aren't thinking it. So you have to find that balance. But at the core of it, you have to look at what are you building? Who are you building it for? And, depending on where you are, you will take that decision. But you have to do your research. You don't talk to every investor. That's completely pointless. You'll waste your time, by the way. It takes significant amount of time and energy to talk to investors. So, so you have to do your homework. You have to do your research. Who will you go after? One thing that I want to talk about is debt. I think in India, we have a cultural antipathy to debt. It's like, how can we take debt, right? But it's a great instrument. If you have a business that's in revenue, debt's a great way to, unlock value without dipping into your equity pool, right? So there are things that you have to be a little bit more aware about, which will happen. Don't start with those thinking on day one. Day one, just look at what you're solving, get that done. And one other thing I do want to add, and this is, Devu made this great point about local capital. And see, there's a chicken and egg thing, right? If you look at Bhubaneswar, imagine a VC sitting outside. They're like, where is Bhubaneswar? What is happening out there? I've not heard any big companies out there. I've not heard any investors out of there. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg. Now you have investors here, right? I've heard, from many today. But they might be challenged by the fact that there's emerging technology that there may not be enough perspective about. right? That perspective might be sitting in Bombay or Bangalore or Pune. So one way is to say, is there a way to bring it both together? Can you create a co-investment model, right? Where you bring local capital, pull the local capital together. There's also an understanding of the, at least the founder mindset. You can, that's a great asset the local capital can bring in. And then the VC brings in the more global outlook here. So that's one way to unlock, value.
Thank you so much. We have a timer here which shows we have around 6.5 minutes left. So any more takes from the panelists, or we can just ask our audience delegates to ask a few questions. Please introduce yourself, raise your hand, introduce yourself shortly, and of course ask a question. We don't want any suggestions and advice from this side of the stage now. It's better to ask questions for whom you want to ask. Yes. No questions, everybody is eager to get into the pitching session as fast as possible, I think. Yes.
Good afternoon. This is Prabhat Panda. I'm building for tourism. So my question to Debu sir is, because back in 2010 or 2012 around, you have invested to few startups in Odisha. So particularly, we're looking on 2023 era. So are you looking to invest something on deep tech, or looking something, purely having a physical, kind of industry? What kind of investment you are looking to now going to invest? Particularly on which kind of startups you are going to invest? If I talk about on 2023.
You see, the question is, what is the product that we are working on? Like
right.
Nishita's product. So it is not deep tech alone. It can be anything. It can be a service
Got it.
sector also. Like, I know your product.
Right, sir.
So one has to be very open, and honestly speaking, let me tell you very clearly one thing. As an investor, personally, I look beyond the product. I look at the passion of the founder. How long has he been sustaining it, and how long has he been developing it? It can't be just an idea and you come and get an investment.
I think that's a great suggestion. How long you are sustaining actually?
How long you have been sustaining it? I see these girls, Nishita and her sister. In fact, for the house, they are twin sisters, and both of them, I see the other one sitting there. So both of them are the co-founders of the company. So, and I see them working on it in the ecosystem for the last 4 years at least, if I'm not wrong. So that kind of commitment and passion is what I look as an investor in a startup.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions? We got, I think, now 10 minutes. So we are working like a hybrid model. As we move downhill, we're getting more mileage, I think. So.
Hello. I can't particularly,
please introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Minushri from Crore Innovative Solutions Private Limited. So, sir, the question is before all of you. So, like when we are pitching out to an investor, all they are talking about is valuation. So, sir, we got the funding 1 year back. So that was a valuation figure. So now, whenever we are going, the valuation is changing because every day one new traction is coming in. So, sir, how soon we should be going for this valuation? So, and it's an expensive affair because, the concerned persons are charging a hefty amount for doing the valuation. So, we are not in a position to do it again and again. So, it should be like, is there any parameter that the investor should be taking up, or we need a, proper valuation certificate that this is what is there? So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I already told you about this. There's nothing like a fixed number I would say that this is the right value, this is the wrong value. The question is like where we are, what is the stage? Because valuation you talk rightly, valuation every day it will change. Because the new traction comes, the value will change. So more important is like instead of going back and forth on the valuation, just look into like what is my runway is, 18 months में कितना पैसा चाहिए, what is my ask is, मैं कितना पा जाऊंगा कि मैं इसको इतना स्केल कर पाऊंगा. If you have this thing right, then automatically, नहीं तो वो confusion बना रहेगा हमेशा. You meet one guy, you meet another guy, you meet one investor, next investor, every time there is a confusion that will come.
हाँ जी.
Right. So that is all. What is the runway that you are looking at? 18 months का आपके पास budget है कि नहीं, in order to scale it, और किस level पे उसको लेके जाना चाहते हैं, ठीक है? That is all.
Thank you, Manish.
I'll just add a couple of things to that, okay?
Yeah.
One, if you have an investor who's asking for a valuation certificate, is not the right investor. Skip that investor, okay? Because the investor has to put a value to you themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, that is one. But in more serious terms, see, when you are beyond a certain stage, when you're in a growth stage, let's say Series A and beyond, there is a certain dynamic. Depending on the space you are, there is a certain dynamic, everybody knows what numbers you'll settle at. The challenge happens typically at earlier stages. When you're in idea, when you're in pre-seed, when you're in seed, when you're in pre-seed. This is where the challenge happens, the challenge you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And, one, you can't put a number to it. It's difficult.
That's
so,
true.
You heard the suggestion, that's exactly how you should do it. So the viewpoint you should go in with, at that stage, now I'm purely talking about idea pre-seed kind of stage. You should think about how much money you need, right, which is what he said. You translate that back to saying, how much dilution are you willing to give? And have a range in your head. I want to dilute 10 to 15%. Why? Because I will have to do subsequent X number of rounds.
Yes.
If I do more than this, I can't handle those rounds. And you have to go back and tell the investor the bigger picture. Why there's an X sort of you are looking at. This is the money you need to get to that X, and this is how much you're willing to part.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll just add on to that. In fact, I was coming to the fact of doing the equity dilution now. But just one thing on the registered valuation thing, there are different methods of valuation that the registered valuers follow. And most of these negotiation, before the term sheet of the deal actually closes and the shareholder agreement is signed, they don't need the registered value to give their report. It's more an understanding between the investor and the founder. And it's more internal to the founder as to where they look at their valuation at. Post the negotiation is where the registered valuer comes in, where you have documents. So it's more like if you have a finance team on board, if they are looking into the finances day in and day out, if they are tracking your revenue and expenses, then they should fairly be able to give you a valuation of the company in terms of different ways. They can be a discounted cash flow, which is far more detailed. But there are different methods of a future valuation, or maybe just a revenue projection growth of X value of my revenue as on today. So, say for example, if per month I'm making about 15-20 lakhs of a revenue, for example, I could say consider my valuation and I'm expecting to grow say 3x month on month. I could expect a valuation anywhere 10x or 20x from there, and then take that figure as a value figure. So there are different ways of valuing. It depends on where you believe you are comfortable as a founder, and typically linking it to the amount of money you want to raise and how comfortable you will be to the amount of equity you want to dilute. And that typically gives you a figure. It's not like every day revenues flow in and every day you would need a registered value to do it for you. It's more internal, where you can build your conviction yourself.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Sir.
Do we have more time, because it's stuck at 10 minutes right now? One last question from the delegates, audience. Yes, we got 2 questions. Okay, 2 people. So, ladies first, of course.
Hi, my name is Sunita, and we are a Bhubaneswar-based startup. We cater to on-demand delivery. We have a fully grown product. My question is, like someone said, the idea is not in only our head. There are multiple others who is having the same idea and solving the same problem. So you have a lot of competitors in the market. Look, how do you pitch in how do you pitch into the investors to invest in your product when you have so many competitors in the market for solving the same problem?
I can take a stab at it. So here is the thing. If there are multiple competitive products, why are you building another? Do you know the answer to that?
You are solving a problem, right? Like the idea.
But you said there are 5 other competitors, right? Which means they're also solving that problem, and some of them might be ahead of you as well, right? So why are you doing it?
Because there is a need in the market. We know that there is a
But
market.
there are 5 other guys solving it. Why are you becoming the 6th one?
There are, if you see the market, there are a lot of restaurants, but still new ones are popping up every now and then in the market.
So, okay, so here is the thing. That's not a good enough answer. Okay, because what will happen is you will find 5 restaurants, you will find 50 restaurants because there are maybe 5 million restaurants out there. So you'll find the first 50, first 100, then you will struggle. Because those 5 people are probably thinking how they will be the best amongst those 5. They are thinking competitive differentiation, right? And the competitive differentiation could be in product, it could be in commercial structure, it could be in experience. There are many different ways. There are different ways to build a competitive moat, right? Absolutely. So, the target segment, right? There are many different things. You have to pick how will you defend what you're building. If you don't know that, right, it may not appear like a problem right now, but 6 months down the line, you will hit a roadblock.
Okay, understand.
Once you answer that question, that's your answer to the investor.
Okay. Understand.
Yes, we had another question.
Just adding to that. So, yeah. So, rightly said, sir, that it's the differentiation that you need to look at. It's the moat that you need to build upon, like जो आपके मोड को कोई easily copy ना कर पाए. जैसे आप कहते हो कि मैं suppose restaurant चला रहा हूँ. Restaurant KFC कहीं पर भी खोलता है, McD कहीं पर भी खोलता है. Every McD and every KFC is a hit case. Why so? क्योंकि उनको कोई copy नहीं कर पाता है. They have a certain USP feature. तो हमें जब तक वो नहीं ढूंढ पाएंगे तब तक हम डिफ्रेंशिएशन नहीं क्रिएट कर पाएंगे. और वो डिफ्रेंशिएशन जब आप क्रिएट कर लोगे, देख लोगे कि ये हम कैसे डिफरेंट है, मे बी डिफरेंट थिंग्स दैट गोज इनटू इट, बिल्डिंग अपॉन इट. कस्टमर की रीच कैसे है, उसको हम कैसे मैस्मराइजिंग इम्पैक्ट दे पा रहे हैं, क्या चीज़ दे पा रहे हैं, दैट विल क्रिएट मोर वैल्यू. तो वो मोड जब तक नहीं क्रिएट होगा तब तक वो वैल्यू को आप नहीं अनलॉक कर पाएंगे. ठीक है.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. One last short question with a short answer.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, one and all. I'm Sitangshu Mishra, the founder of Job School. For everyone's information, we have received a small seed fund from Contact itself through STPI. My question to Debu sir is, in fact, you mentioned rightly about the passion of the founding team. But apart from passion, whether the investors also focus on profitability, value proposition, or valuation, so that it will be helpful for all my fellow entrepreneurs, when they pitch, they can focus on those points.
See, those factors are always there. Like talking about profitability, we would definitely look into that. Any investor will look into that. And he will also look at how secured is his investment. आगे चल के पैसा बचेगा या निकल जाएगा या डूब जाएगा. That is the kind of attitude investor has. But other than the passion, the other thing that probably excites an investor is the scalability. This product, is it restricted to Bhubaneswar, or this product is only restricted to Shahid Nagar, or this product can sail all around Odisha, or maybe I can take it international. So depending on the scalability is a major factor also for consideration of the investor. And that was your question, if I'm not wrong.
Right, sir.
Yeah. But coming back to this lady, I'll supplement and take 1 minute. See, when we are talking about similar products, you have to look for a niche where you are the exclusive service provider. Now, you were mentioning about restaurants, and I belong to that community. My business is restaurants and hotels. There is one, allow me this 2 minutes time, sir. There is one restaurant in Bombay, which is completely manned by people who cannot speak, physically challenged, disabled. But that has become their USP. People go there for that. There's a restaurant in Japan which is famous for wrong orders because the order takers are elderly people and they always mess up with orders. Like you ask for a dal makhani, they will probably come back to you with a manchao soup. And that is the USP of that restaurant, sir. It's a wrong order restaurant. So you have to look for that exclusivity to sell your product amongst 500 or 1000 restaurants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I think the most niche restaurant where you don't serve food at all, the healthiest restaurant. Just watch food being made and sent in. Okay, thank you so much. The panelists have been so wonderful. Questions have been great. And the best part, a big hand for the organizing team for sticking to time. I mean, almost. And we have been doing it so well since morning. And I think we started in a wonderful way post-lunch. Next is the pitching session. Over to Pasana. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, panelists. I think wonderful. And the most exciting thing that we heard from this panel was that in this so-called funding winter, there is a lot of money available. All you need to go is sort of demonstrate your roadmap, demonstrate your defensibility, and it's all sitting there. So thank you so much, panelists. And yeah, so we will now request the moderator here to please give a token of our appreciation, a small memento to all the panelists. We can begin again from that side. We will begin with Nishita. Thank you very much, Nishita. Thank you so much, Satyakam. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Patnaik. Thanks, Manish. Thanks for making time all the way. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Srivastav, all the way from Guwahati. Thank you very much. I would now request Mr. Sushil Sethi, Deputy Director, STPI, to please give a memento to Mr. Sanurat. Thank you, Sanu. Excellent moderation. Thank you, everyone.